So it's a new episode of TLDR.
It's a brand new episode, it's a new week, it's a new start, it's a fresh start over here at TLDR.
It sort of is, because we have changed the format a little bit now.
We've gone for a brand new format.
Yeah, we've gone for a brand new format. Everything's a bit different.
In the past, we've gone for a solid block, often a 3-hour podcast.
Sort of brown, brick-like chunk of condensed material.
We've condensed 7 days of internet gold into 3 hours. And I think that's commendable.
Yeah.
But some of you probably don't want to listen to all 3 hours. I mean, how many people listen to something for 3 hours in a row?
Hello, me.
Me too, but...
Because I can put that sort of commitment and effort into something that I claim to like. So, you know, if you like the Facebook page, then you like the podcast. And if you like the podcast and you can't be bothered to listen... No, yeah, it's just, you know, if you...
It does
you're a liar.
It gets on my nerves.
Yeah.
It gets right on my nerves.
Yeah. Peas me-o.
But as a result of that very thing, we've gone, you know what?
What?
Damn it.
What?
We're gonna split up this pod.
Oh, right.
And each segment is now going to be released on a separate day.
As an individual episode.
So this week, I mean, we chatted about Gamergate, we chatted about nudes, celebs' boobies.
A lot of gates, actually. Celeb nude gate.
Yeah. Gamergate. Joan Rivers being dead gate.
Yeah, being dead gate.
Knee defender gate.
Knee defender gate. And Wakey
gate.
Which didn't... The thing...
We made it a gate.
That was our gate. Listen to the Wakey segment, because what happens is that I found a brilliant app that I thought, oh yeah, let's do this live on the show. And then it turns out that it's not yet available. A bit of a gate.
It was a massive gate.
People have described it as a gate.
That's a gate swinging open. I'm good at sound effects. Do you want any more?
I'll do a gate first.
Wrong.
I can go really high though. Did you not appreciate
Do it again. Bad, isn't it? Really bad. But I'll tell you what's not bad. Great segue.
What's not bad?
TLDR's new format. Yes. Oh, elbows.
High five. Come on.
Squeeze.
I'm recording, by the way. I turned it on. Oh dear. I wonder if your squeezely is audible at the start.
I said it in my head and thought, not going to run with that. And then I'd gone 3 words in of the 4. So I'm like, maybe I squeeze.
You'd already said easy peasily lemon. And you thought, I'm in. I can't just say easily peasily lemon.
If I'd said easily peasily, he would say, well, that's easy peasy. Yeah. But as soon as I say easy peasy lemon, that doesn't make sense. So I've got to say squeezily.
From now on, every episode starts with the word squeezily.
Squeezily,
ladies and gentlemen. Hi there, Matt.
Hi, Phil. How are you, buddy?
A bit miffed. We just had some microphone troubles.
Technical issues over here in Studio B.
We recorded 5 minutes and 41 seconds of, I'll say it, gold.
I'm going to say we're never going to reach that standard of podcasting ever again.
That was perfect. The 5 minutes and 41 seconds that we recorded was perfect. Admittedly, all that happened was the microphone stopped working and then I voluntarily deleted
it all.
Recording after we both decided that would have been easier. But it was still perfect.
It was.
Yeah. What were we talking about, though?
Well,
there goes the segue, by the way.
We were just riffing naturally.
Yeah.
It
just came up.
I just asked you how you were. You asked me how I was. I said, well, I'm a little bit tired because I've been travelling so much. And I said, hey, as a result, I haven't really...
Oh, hang on. I mispronounced Prague really funnily. You missed that.
That's true.
It was humorous.
And the Czech Republic.
Yeah, I did that funnily as well. But go on.
And I was like, one thing I haven't been able to avoid is this celebrity nude leak.
Yeah.
Brilliant segue. Probably one of the best ones I've ever done.
I mean, you'll never get there again.
But we were talking about the celebrity nude leak.
Yeah.
And how that even though I was away, the only piece of news other than Joan Rivers dying...
Oh, yeah.
Which was quite sad.
Shall we talk about that at some point?
Yeah, if you want. It was sad she was a pioneer of female comedy.
I'll write that down to talk about later on. Carry on.
The only thing anybody spoke about was this celebrity nude leak.
Which I believe you used the phrase celebgate.
Celebgate, #celebgate.
Wrong. The fappening.
The fappening also probably works.
It's the fappening, that's...
Well, the thing is, like I said on the previous 5 minutes of now deleted podcast...
Yeah, we can't keep doing that, but...
I basically said, I got a text had a little bit of Wi-Fi in a bar.
Yeah.
Went, honestly, just looked at it, looked at a few pictures. Only of Jennifer Lawrence really went, is that her? Yeah, it's her. Oh, yeah, she looks all right.
Yeah.
I sort of expected her to look all right because she always looks all right.
Yeah.
And then put my phone down
and
came back to a storm of, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. Apple would demand apologies.
Yeah.
People coming out with pages and pages about how this is, you know, misogynistic and the worst thing that's ever happened. And if you're an other in society, if you're anything other than the white male, then society is trying to fuck you at all times. And it all... thank God. Caucasian male here.
Check.
And it all seemed just like
check.
a massive sort of whirlstorm when it didn't really need to be.
I don't think whirlstorm is a word.
Oh, I've just made it up.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I agree. I think that it was overblown on both sides. It was overblown by the people saying, oh, this is amazing, litres and litres of semen. And it was also overblown. But like I posted on Facebook, someone calculated, or claimed to have calculated, the volume of ejaculate that had spewed forth. As a result
on his hands, or her hands.
He was like, 4 tons. Oh, internet, that's despicable. Fuck you, internet. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
You're basically creating something to moan about.
Yeah.
That piece of information doesn't exist and never needs to exist, and isn't even a piece of information. It's a piece of hearsay.
Yes.
That you're then saying, look how bad you all are on my hearsay. Go fuck yourself. That's not how it works.
It was ridiculous.
Honestly, I didn't really think about it at all. I had a little look, went, no, that's it. The whole privacy issue didn't come into my head. The whole morality issue didn't come into my head. I looked at it because it's a person of sort of public interest.
Yeah.
I would have looked at it if it was the Queen. I would have looked at it if it was my next door neighbour. I would have looked at it because that's the sort of society we live in.
Yeah.
Where if it's slightly unusual, then you'll look at it.
This is the thing, is that it was almost all female. I mean, I think it was all female celebrities.
I think of the entire league, there's like one guy or something.
Right.
Who may have just probably been in with a couple of women.
He might not have even been a celeb. He might have took a
Just
dick
been
pic.
there.
Oh, look, we've also found this guy.
I think this is Ryan Gosling's dick, ladies. Isn't this one of the nicest, most average penises you've ever
his
seen?
height and weight.
For his height and weight, this is normal size.
But if it came out that, like, right, here's Ryan Gosling's dick, I'd also look. I'm a straight man.
I've looked at Chris Brown's dick on the internet.
What's that?
I've looked at really big.
Is it?
Yes, it is black, isn't it? It's huge.
You can't say that.
Stereotyping. Oh, sue me. Dappy's dick, huge. Any pictures that come out, I'll have a little gander at them. Because that's the society we live in. While there's a huge wave of everybody that looks as this are the worst people in the world, let's ban pictures, let's suspend Twitter users.
Yeah.
You're all terrible if you even comment on it in any way.
Yeah.
There's no sort of change coming from this. This comes about from a society we live in where the media loves to overtly sexualise female celebrities.
Yeah.
If you go on the Daily Mail website, for instance, or any of these,
I don't.
all the ones down the side are, this person's striding out in a
exactly.
hip
It's
length.
all that
and
stuff.
when you build that up in society where snapping pictures of people coming out of nightclubs drunk, lying in the gutter, so you get a little upskirt shot of them, so you can splash it all over the tabloids, when that's just sort of accepted by a vast majority, a lot of people say, that is disgusting and it sells, but whatever. When that's the norm, then these people are put on a platform where we're intrigued by, we want to see this. So people don't have that boundary. There's no privacy standards for celebrities at all.
No.
And that's, people say, well, it's part of the job, but where does that end? You follow One Direction around the world and, here he is on his balcony. Is that too far? But then it's building a society where people feel like they can do anything. And there's no standards. I wouldn't take pictures of my next door neighbour, through the window.
And you haven't either. So
I haven't. And
whatever.
I have erased all of my hard drive because of the Nudegate scandal. So
you won't even find the pictures. They were blurry anyway at best.
But that's because I have a standard.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take pictures of people falling over. But if it's a celebrity, it feels like there's interest in this. There's a hyped interest in this.
Yeah.
There's no standards. So
you're saying that there are no standards? Do you think there should be standards? Do you think this is?
Well, I don't
bad?
think you can use the excuse that being famous is part of the job, that people are going to follow you everywhere and want your picture. To us, it is in our society, but where's that line drawn? Where do you stop?
I mean, not all of those people decided to become famous. Some of them decided to pursue their passion, which was acting or whatever it is.
And that's
like, what about the inevitable day when TLDR blows up huge in not only the Czech Republic but everywhere? Yeah. Well, and then our dicks are...
That's the issue. I'm not saying that people are choosing to be famous and thus have to accept, the pros and cons. I'm saying that just because these people are now in the A-list, B-list, have interest from a vast majority of the public, it doesn't mean you then can almost treat them not as people, but as on a different standard of morality and laws and everything to everybody else. If I lay outside our local nightclub and just took pictures of women falling over,
people would see you, mate.
I'll be arrested.
Yeah, you would be arrested swiftly.
But if I went to London and stood outside, a glamorous hotspot nightclub, and sort of took pictures of the celebrities falling out, and then posted them on my Twitch, going, "Oh my god, look how crazy drunk Zabitha is."
Yeah.
Sabbath Black person, head of the
TFC network. Yeah. See, yeah.
But so there's a difference there.
Yeah.
And because of that accepted norm in society where people are treated almost as objects to look at and not objectify in a bad way, such for a lot of cases, but they're almost treated like idols.
Yeah.
And because we live in that society where it's fine and we're all interested in seeing what X is wearing and we want them to be as low cut as everything, then there's people don't have any qualms about it. Going, nudes, steal.
Yeah. I feel like this is us as a culture being confronted with this inevitable issue. It's like this was going to come to a head at some point, and now it is, and now you've got to deal with it, and you've got to figure out how, like, what are we going to do about this? Because first of all, there's no way that you can, if the desire is there to see nudes, then nudes are going to be seen. So there's no way you can stop it if the desire is there.
And the desire will always be there.
Well, but we could reach a point where it's utterly shameful and taboo to do this. And is that the point we want to reach, or do we want to reach a point where it's just a normal part of life and nudity isn't as taboo anymore?
Well, you need to treat people, it's an ideology, but you'd like to treat people with the same sort of decency and respect as you would want.
Yeah.
Like, if I have nude pictures of myself, great. I'll show them to people if I want to show them to people. But if someone hacked in and took them and just spread them to everybody I knew, I'll be like, well, that's a bit mean.
Well, yeah.
It's a bit horrible.
It wouldn't be fun. It'd be pretty horrible. Like, not only has something been stolen from you, but a really private, personal image. And I don't just mean image file, but,
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. And there's no boundary for that with these kinds of people. Whereas there is in normal society, you wouldn't do that. You don't do that.
Yeah.
But if you break down any sort of normality where we're constantly criticising and talking about how they look, they dress, they act, then you're not treating them as you would normal people.
Yeah, I mean, you forget that celebrities are normal people. That's what, that's what part of the problem is. And maybe because I feel like there are two different, almost independent forms of celebrity that are coming up now. There's the classic celebrity who is a Hollywood celebrity or TV celebrity or famous for something that's you expect people to be famous for.
Acting.
Yeah, and then there are people like YouTubers and podcasters and stuff like that. I'm not saying that we're in that category yet. This time next year we will have blown up. But like people like Joe Rogan, I mean, he's a bad example because he was famous.
He was famous
already
beforehand, but there are people that are now recognisable in the society we live in because of everything we have.
Yeah.
Because we live in a much more connected society. There are people that you will never hear of and never see, but will have 2 million, 10 million followers on X, Y, and Z, and will be able to go and sell out arenas.
But the point I was going to make there, though, is that those people who can go on and sell out arenas and stuff like that, like more often than not, like let's take like a vlogger or a podcaster or something like that, their relationship to their audience is very different because someone like Jennifer Lawrence, I don't really know what she's like. I don't know anything really about her. I just know that she gives good performances and that she's quite hot. But someone like a podcaster who I listen to for hours a week and
Yeah.
There's more humanity there. So I would feel a lot weirder about leaking the nude of someone who's very candid with their audience.
Almost a personal connection too.
Yeah.
Because acting is just that. It's acting.
Yeah.
You could watch.
There's no candor to it.
You
really.
could watch Jennifer Lawrence in 100 films, and they're all acting. And you can watch her on, go and do her Oscar speech or fall over, or here she is on television. But that's still her on television for an audience, for a show.
There's little humanity there.
Whereas, podcasting, vlogging is talking directly to an audience, directly to a very specific, often to a sort of target market.
Yeah. And often the whole sell is, here's my honest thoughts on something pretty mundane that's happened to me or whatever.
Yeah.
The sell is candor nowadays. Like, that's what celebrity is. It's not really celebrity yet, but I imagine that in 50 years' time, the big celebs will be people that are, our generation subscribes to on YouTube right now. And so I feel like
people like to relate, and people in the past have reached to relate to little things that people do, and you see it to a certain extent with someone like a Jennifer Lawrence in the fact that she trips or falls over, or she's a little bit clumsy, or she's like, why do people make fun of people's weight? It's just natural.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, that's what I think, and I can relate to that, and now you have a sort of connection to a person, even though you don't really.
Yeah.
But it's a level above that when people are actively basically talking to you about often a topic you're interested in, or about themselves, or just being real.
Yeah, it's like they're no longer this ethereal, godlike, different species that exists on Mount Olympus. They're like, peers almost. Like, it feels weird to think of some of these YouTubers and podcasts and stuff like that as being better than you. Yeah. Whereas if I say a Jim Carrey or something like that is better than me, that's like a given almost. It would feel like a taboo to say that I'm as good as him on any level, or like someone like. It
would almost seem like an arrogance to say that me and Jim Carrey are just basically two similar blokes just in this world.
I mean, really, I'm better at impressions than he is. I'm better at acting than he is emotionally. I can give better performances.
Canadian.
Yeah, his Canadian accent in Anchorman 2 didn't sell me. It was basically an Irish accent, and he is Canadian. So that was a disappointment. This goes back to what I was saying earlier. I would, if one of the new leaks was Jim Carrey's dick, I'd click on that probably before a lot of the female ones. Like, if a female name I don't know, I can see from the thumbnail that it's really hot, but then Jim Carrey's dick, I'm clicking on Jim Carrey's dick immediately. What are your top 5 dicks?
What are my top 5 dicks? Mine?
No, that you would like to see.
That I'd like to see.
Yours.
Yours, yeah. Where's that gone? Hello. Top 5 dicks that I'd like to see. Okay, Stephen Gerrard.
Right.
Like to see his
Really?
penis.
What do you think? What do you think?
Because I feel like it's probably not that big, and in my mind, my entire life, he's almost been put on a pedestal.
As a big dick guy.
Liverpool captain, England captain.
Must have a big dick.
He's probably great in every way.
Yeah.
He's universally loved.
Yeah.
But there's got to be something wrong there. Idris Elba, because I heard
Babylon
talking about how big his dick was, and I like him. I think he's cool.
But I saw the picture that they were referring to, and apparently it was a microphone wire in his trousers. It did look like a huge schlong, but it looked like it was about a foot long. It was pretty ridiculous. If that is real, then congratulations to Idris for his big dick.
I'll probably pick out people who are of a similar height and weight to me.
To you, to see if you are average.
Because I always go, I'm average for my height and weight. But
you've not got the raw metadata.
I've not got the data.
Yeah.
Although, I did receive... I haven't got them anymore, obviously, but I did receive 4 random Snapchats from XXJack1995XX.
Who's that?
Just a guy on Snapchat who sent me 4 dick pics in a row saying,
his own?
Hey babe, I would assume so, they look like self-shot.
Right.
Hey babe, how are you? Answer me please. Are you there? So...
what is your relationship with him?
Never, it was like completely random. Like,
right.
I've got it set out so anybody can snap me.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And got some dicks.
Liam Neeson would be my number 1. Because I want to know if it's true. Willem Dafoe, again, the rumours are there that he's got a big dick. And I would also like to see various black celebrities.
See if it's true.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Yeah, I'm not going to. No, it's stereotyping, and stereotyping is bad whether it's positive or negative. But I'm not going to. I mean, it is really essentially like philosophically.
It's bad to stereotype all people. But if you're going to do it positively.
But, I guess. But I'm not going to pretend like, whenever this sort of conversation comes up, we were talking about candour a minute ago. Candour has just dropped because people are afraid of being perceived as not being completely progressive and open-minded and stuff like that. But I'm not perfect. Hey, I'm just a little guy trying to make it
in this world.
And when I see a black celebrity, I sort of like Will Smith. There's no way he's got an average dick.
Yeah, no.
I would imagine that's big. But I would like to see, and if it is small, that'd be so interesting. It'd be like seeing a photo of water on Mars or something. It'd be a scientific curiosity.
I like how you think.
And again, I understand that what I'm saying is pretty terrible.
But it's true. And we're about truth.
It's true that this is what I think.
Yeah.
I'll go as far as saying that.
It's honest. We're honest here.
Honest is the word. True maybe is not the word.
We're raw and we're honest, and if you don't like it...
Let's say...
Keep subscribed, but...
Don't unsubscribe.
It'll probably
don't do anything hasty. Cool down for a bit and then make a decision.
Keep it hovering over the 5 stars.
Yeah, on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's still... Yeah. I would say honest and wrong. Just to err on the side of caution. Just to err on the side of caution.
But why is it a bad thing to be wrong? People don't like to be perceived as being slightly wrong or misinformed.
Yeah.
If I voice an opinion, like honestly, about this celeb noodling, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Is it bad? Probably, but I don't care enough to be worked up about it. And so if somebody wants to come to me and talk about the privacy of women and the privacy of people and humanity and the world, and I'll listen to you and I'll go, oh, okay, that's interesting. Maybe I was, slightly misinformed. Maybe I jumped to an opinion too quickly.
But it's not.
But I'd rather have an opinion and voice it than go,
Right, well, here's a half-baked, ill-thought-out response to that I've just thought of.
Yeah.
I'll preface it by saying that it's not bad to be wrong in the sense that it's good to admit when you are wrong, and there's nothing wrong with happening to be wrong. But I would say that shame is an important social function on a larger scale, in that, let's say someone goes out and says, I'm just being honest, I just love to rape kids. You really sort of have to shame them. Yeah. Because, it's a self-policing thing. But
then I'm saying that there's context in that. I'm not saying that I'm going to go out and be completely open and honest and say all the weird thoughts that pop into my head all the time.
Yeah.
I'm saying people like to pussyfoot around and sugarcoat things and say what people want to hear.
Yes.
A lot of the time.
That's also bad. I don't think you should be afraid of this.
Whereas something like this isn't a terrible... This isn't news, really, at all. It's a non-event that is sort of a bit bad in a way, but there are millions of other bad things going on all the time.
This isn't the worst thing that's happening.
So,
hang on, I just want to say as well, because I've just thought... See, this is what happens when you do a half-baked idea. When I said that shame is important, things like slut-shaming, fat-shaming, not good.
Works, though.
Oh, that's a good point, yeah.
No,
I don't want to get into this.
Okay, well, that's the thing up for debate. I'm not saying it's the best avenue, but it often does work.
Again, shame as a social function does lead to change, but it's whether it's sort
should
of
you force change or should change come naturally?
And it's also a weighing of values. Like, is it worth the shame? Because shame isn't a good thing to feel. And shame also leads to all sorts of neuroses.
And it's
and you don't really want to inflict shame upon people, but at a certain point, you have to shame people into not doing things that aren't illegal but are really, really immoral.
I'm not saying that shaming is the best course of action all the time.
No.
I'm saying that it often is a very effective course of action.
Yes.
Whether that messes things up further down the line, that's up for debate.
Yeah.
But it does work to a certain extent.
But guns work really effectively. Yeah. It's the same thing. It's like
guns do work effectively.
Yeah. And guns don't kill people.
Rappers do.
Rappers do, yeah. I saw it in a documentary on BBC Two. Oh, different person.
Oh, never mind. Trying to drag it back vaguely
to the fappening.
To where I was, to the fappening. As I was saying a minute ago, with society putting these kind of people on a different pedestal.
Yeah, on a plane.
Is there then some importance or some responsibility that they have to take on board regarding things like this?
Who's the celebrities?
The celebrities themselves. And now, if I come out and say, this is the celebrities' fault because they shouldn't keep nudes of themselves on their laptops, and people are going to blow up and go mental and say, you can't say that. What? Oh, things set on fire don't have anything flammable. That's not...
I mean, this is a really egg-shelly conversation.
But there's a difference between, like, there's an argument of privacy and sort of versus stupidity. Where's the line drawn? I'm not saying that you have to be the most vigilant, never do anything, and because you're this person now you have to act in a completely different way. If you want to do what you're doing, do what you're doing. But when you're suddenly in the attention of the world and many more eyes are on you, many more negative eyes are on you as well, people who want to manipulate you or change or steal from you or whatever it is.
So with that comes a certain responsibility.
Do you then have responsibility to not be an idiot? I'm not saying that these people who had their nudes leaked are idiots, but I'm saying that less people are going to be interested in nudes I have on my laptop than are going to be interested in the nudes of Jennifer Lawrence, for instance. Yeah. So does there come a point where you go, oh, well, I took these in the past, that was nice, but I'll probably just, move them or delete them, or people might want to see that and that might badly affect me. So I'll take that. If I want to maintain my status as it is now, if I want to keep being the person I am, I have to be a bit more wary of what I'm doing.
But the thing is, there are various nuances to this. Like, for example, if you delete something off your iPhone,
it's
like
not
a photo,
deleted,
it's still on the iCloud, and I suppose most people don't realise that.
Yeah, got to get rid of a lot of pictures.
Yeah, I've had...
It's really opened my eyes.
All day I've been ticking boxes. Yeah. It's just...
it's easier just to tick all and then just tick the ones I want to keep.
Yeah, but I've noticed that I just take too many from the same angle. It's redundant at that point. Yeah.
You've got 5 of the same. That's the thing with the iPhone. Yeah. You can just take about 6 at once.
I mean, I do use all of them, though. I send them all off to different people. See what feedback I get back. And then I've got a system. I've got, like, tournaments, sport tournaments. Yeah. I've got that, but with dick pics.
Dick pics.
So, at the minute, img437.jpg is winning out, but 0073, which is a bath pic.
Fighting back.
Yeah, it's fighting back. And that you can see a bit of my anus in that one.
That's an interesting angle.
It's mostly anus. It's an anus pic. Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah. Here is one.
Oh no, that is good.
Yeah, thank you.
Got a lot of notice there, my friend. Is that all the dick pics coming back at you?
Dick pics, yeah.
But
it's not. It isn't.
I was listening to an interview with somebody, I can't remember who it was, so no sources on this, but they were saying when Paris Hilton's nudes got leaked a couple of years ago, people just went on her email and her password question was, what's your dog's name? And it's wild public knowledge what a dog is. She talks about it all the time, so people just went boom and stole everything. Right. And if you're going to have any data anywhere at this, but this isn't even about nudes at this point.
It's about privacy and...
It's about privacy and protecting, basically, yourself and things you own. Why would you not use all means? Yeah. It's the whole 2-step verification thing, your security codes and your passwords and your emailing and whatever it is. They give you so many levels. Why wouldn't you use that? Yeah. And not only why wouldn't we use it, but
especially if you're a celebrity.
This is the responsibility stroke stupidity side of it from that angle. Why wouldn't you use that? Yeah. I don't understand it.
This is
you can't live in this society we live in, and it's nice to say, I just want to be treated like everybody else. We're just all the same guys in the same boat. And yes, we are, and that's great, and you shouldn't steal nudes from anybody, you shouldn't steal anybody's information from anybody. But more people are interested in you than are interested in Jane up the street. That's just pure fact. So, act responsibly. I'm not saying that these people aren't acting responsibly. No. I'm going to cover my tracks.
Yeah, I know.
But don't be an idiot.
This is interesting because it's sort of highlighting the fact that our society really does have a caste system, which you don't really think of it like that, but celebrities are in a different caste. That's like, we've been searching for the word to use. Yeah, and that sort of fits.
Both sides of it. Like in India, you have the untouchables.
Yeah,
who you don't. Sort of like our homeless people.
Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence is not going to high five a homeless guy.
And also, like, a crime committed against a homeless guy and a crime committed against Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
I'll argue about it all you want, but really they're going to treat Jennifer Lawrence's crime more seriously.
Absolutely. And that's Is it a sad reflection on society? Probably, yeah, probably it is.
I think it's inherent to humanity because this is a society that's very consciously made an exerted effort to get rid of any form of caste system, or like we're all like the idea of class and stuff is a bit of a taboo. Like we don't want that, but we have it. Yeah. So it's probably just inherent to human behaviour in some way.
We like to build these people up, but you can only build them up to a certain...
baby before...
You break me down.
Yeah.
And mess me around.
Yeah.
But...
Good point. Wow, I've never heard it put like that. That works.
We live in a society where there's always going to be desire to be something you're not.
Yeah.
It's natural to wish for something. Whether it's I wish to live on a tropical island with £1 billion,
yeah,
or whether it's I'd love to have a life being an actress and looking all great. And I want to see homeless people. I'd love to see homeless people naked. So when you start throwing, just see what happens. See what it's
you
like.
Wouldn't.
There's that Patrice O'Neill bit, isn't there, about the difference between men and women?
Yeah.
Is that a woman would walk past a homeless guy, she'd be like, oh, that's disgusting. A guy would walk past a homeless woman and be like,
I would.
Let's clean you up and see if we can have sex with you. And
Patrice O'Neill is so funny.
And it was so funny.
Well, he's dead,
peace, brother. But, not a brother, never met him. Dead before I knew who he was. But but that's sort of the point. When you have these people and you build them up.
Buttercup, baby.
And especially females, when you overtly sexualise them anyway, a vast majority of the male population of then, of course, is going to go, oh, I wonder what they look like naked.
Yeah.
And then when it's there, click.
Yeah.
Millions of people are going to do it. You can say, oh, don't do that as much, that's immoral. There's always going to be that desire there.
Yeah.
Always.
I mean, I was saying this before the microphone broke earlier on, that, like, before... Like, the first thing I saw of it was the subreddit, the fappening.
Yeah.
And the moral implications hadn't occurred to me whatsoever before, like, I saw all these articles and stuff talking about how, oh, of course it's immoral. And I was like, oh, yeah, I suppose that's a good point.
Yeah, I suppose it is. But they closed down the fappening, didn't they?
Yeah,
Shut it down.
Yeah.
And
big drama.
There's talk of banning Twitter for people who, like, tweeted them, suspending them. But I don't think that works. What are you gaining from that?
Banning the followers.
What are you trying to do by trying to remove that content? You're trying to stop as many eyes getting to it as possible.
Yeah, it's that they call it the Barbra Streisand effect.
Why?
Something happened with Barbra Streisand where basically when a celebrity wants to cover up a photo,
yeah,
that has the opposite effect. Well, not
Beyonce
necessarily photo, but
recently,
anyway, yeah, Beyonce. Yeah.
And the opposite side of this, and it's sort of the same point of what I'm doing, is when people want to do that, then you attract more attention to it, and you bring more eyes to it, and it becomes more taboo and more underground, and you find ways to get it.
Yeah.
And do you know Anjem Chowdhury?
Nope.
He's a sort of radical, Islamist. He lives in Luton, or he lives quite close to the former leader of the EDL, Tommy Robinson.
Right. That must be... That's a sitcom waiting to happen.
Yeah, the old odd couple. Yeah. And he's very like, Sharia law, and he's like, white people only. And, that's
I mean, if
politics.
that's not a sitcom, throw an audience laugh track over that.
Oh! That's me.
We'll get Coogan in.
That's me breaking down politics to almost a sort of retard's level. But he's very outspoken about, anybody that drinks in the street should be, like, arrested and all this stuff. And he tried to get photos of his, like, uni days where he was drinking and gambling off the internet. But they're, like, some of the most upvoted things on Reddit. Yeah. Because, when it's a thing we all get behind, then, we'll push it and we'll push as many eyes to this as possible.
And also, the fact, when you hear, they're trying to get rid of this, they're trying to cover this up, that sets an expectation that it's, A, worth covering up,
looking at,
and B, might be gone in a minute. So it drives
get to it as quickly as
so
possible.
many people who wouldn't have looked at it otherwise to immediately swarm to it. And that's one of the reasons that people have looked at, all of these pictures so much. The other reason is that it's Jennifer Lawrence naked.
But I don't think the whole idea of prosecuting and banning and stopping people from seeing it is ever going to work. At this point, it's out and it's done and it's on the internet and there's only so much threat you can do.
Yeah,
it's there now. The damage is to a certain extent done.
Yeah,
people start printing up billboards and whacking them on. Then we start having a chat again.
This whole thing is like,
but there's so much shit, terrible stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
If we want to go down that dark hole of the internet, there are
There are
things
communities
that are genuinely disturbing and disgusting, horrible things.
Yeah.
Another example of it recently was when ISIS beheaded James Foley. Terrible, horrible, it's been spoken about so much. And, of course, it's a deplorable thing.
It was a terrible video, only a 480p. Thank you.
And they put it on the internet to, brag, show, whatever, this is what we do, we're strong, that's terrorism, that's how it works.
Well, to cause terror.
That's how it works. Yeah. And it was the whole, well, don't view it, don't do this, don't do that. Yeah. But what are you doing by stopping it? You're making this the point.
Yeah, you're certainly not stopping it.
And this isn't the point. That's the point. Isn't don't watch the video. That's
so. What's the larger issue here then in the fappening? What is the point?
Well, you're bogging down with suspending Reddits and Twitter users and all. You're bogging down the actual act of stealing and hacking.
Yeah.
Which is, if you're going to prosecute one person, probably go and do the bloke who did it.
Is he? I mean, here's a point. Like, this is such a complicated, convoluted issue at this point. Where does blame lie? Because you could make an argument for literally all the involved parties to be at blame. Like the viewer, people like us, who just see it. You can make the argument that we're to blame. You can make the argument that the celebrities are to blame for being stupid. You can make the argument that the hacker is to blame. But you could also make the argument that they're all victims of circumstance. Like, who is to blame here? Who's at fault? Go.
Oh, who's at fault? Well, it's... What do you mean by blame? Blame in what context? Because you can't blame somebody for taking a private picture of themselves. It's legal. It's within the law. Yeah. If you're going purely on law basis...
Then it's the guy who leaked them.
Then it's the guy who stole them.
Yeah.
Because the act of stealing is the illegal thing, obviously.
Yeah.
Putting them on the internet is probably some kind of electronic-based law. I don't know how it works, but
it's violating copyright law.
The act of theft is the breaking of law.
Yeah.
Once it's on the internet, there isn't a law that states you can't look at stolen property. That's not a law.
Right. Okay.
So I'm not to blame.
Legally.
And those people aren't to blame legally.
Yeah.
If you want to go down the moral standpoint, then it depends where you come from. You could come from a very fundamentalist attitude that you should never do anything so demeaning as taking a picture of yourself in the first place.
Yeah.
And you started this chain of events, and you're the domino that fell first, so it's all your fault.
Yeah.
And if you'd never took them, there's so many arguments. How do you stop this from happening? Don't take naked pictures of yourself. And of course, that is the only guaranteed way this is ever going to happen. But that, that's not going to happen.
No, especially in this society. I mean, we've talked about it before on TLDR that dick pics and nudes in general, are such a huge part of culture now. Yeah,
it's very strange, but it is a huge part of culture. So you can't really blame them for doing it. It's an intimate thing. With the technology you have now, when you're in relationships, etc., it's going to happen. That's a thing. What does happen?
Yeah.
Morally, do you blame the guy that stole them? Yeah, you say, well, that was a bit of a dickish move.
Yeah.
But you can also morally blame a society that over-sexualises celebrities, makes things like that just seem... Well, when you live in a society that you think the benefit of stealing this would be better and greater and more important to you than the immoral action of upsetting some celebrities, well, that's also a big...
Well, I think the benefit was that he got a lot of money for it. I think he sold them,
didn't he?
So really, the conclusion there is that
money!
Capitalism is to blame.
But then, what's driving that capitalism? People's desire.
Hard dicks.
Yeah, people's desire to see that, which is brought about because of how we live and
the fact that we're humans. And
this
is all just a messed up situation, really. And trying to act as if it's like a neat thing that we can say, you're to blame for this and you're to blame for that and you should do this and you should do that. It's just... This is just something that we need to collectively ruminate on and then move past somehow. But
there's been no room for just pondering and going, well, what should we do about this?
No rumination room.
Rumination room. As soon as it came out, you had the early birds like ourselves who just went, oh, okay, put it down, didn't think about it again.
Yeah.
Then you had the one-dayers who had time to knock up a piece about how this is the worst thing that's ever happened.
Yeah.
And then you had the bandwagon jumpers who came on board and this is disgusting.
Yeah.
And these people are saints
Yes.
amongst our... And Apple, how dare you? And you've got Apple coming out saying they're outraged by this theft. It's very public knowledge that people die making the very phones and the very products. And there's no outrage about that. There's no outrage that you're paying sweatshop workers no money at all to work 18 hours to build your computer so you can make it $5 cheaper at Walmart. There's no outrage there.
Yeah.
This is the prime example of us putting our focus and our in the wrong place.
Yeah.
I really honestly don't give a shit because it doesn't affect me in the slightest way. And it doesn't affect them either. Jennifer Lawrence is going, my privacy's been gone there.
Well, it's humiliation, isn't it?
It's humiliation, but she's going to go, well, I've got loads of money and I'm a successful, happy person.
But money can't buy you love, Matt.
No, but she's not gaining love from this.
But she might have this might have serious psychological repercussions, though. It might not, but it might. She might need counselling and therapy for this, and it might be like...
At least she lives in a place that she can get that freely whenever she wants and however she wants. So. And she's surrounded by people that will offer her that and care and give her attention and love.
Yeah, it's not all bad, I suppose.
Well, no,
Is there anything else that we need to say on this? Because I feel like we could go on for 4 hours.
I don't know.
Are there any other points that need covering?
It sort of gets me angry in the wrong way. I suppose that shows that people care enough that this is still news 7, 10, 5 days after it happened. Yeah. The more attention you put on it, the more attention it has.
Yeah.
If this happens and there's a little statement that says, this is deplorable, we don't really want to comment on it any further.
Yeah.
My client, whoever it is, feels this is a gross breach of privacy and we would like to move past this now. And everyone went, okay then. And hundreds of websites didn't write articles all about it, and it wasn't plastered all over literal news channels.
Yeah.
It's not news.
But I mean, the reason that's never going to happen is that most celebrities, they still have PR teams, but they are their own PR teams, like they have their own Twitter accounts and stuff. So it's the initial gut reaction that you're going to see as what would have in the past been a press release. So it's going to be like, I've only
seen the Jennifer. Well, I've only heard the Jennifer Lawrence PR team just said, that's really bad.
Has she had a public reaction to this or anything?
Her PR team, though, it's a gross breach of trust and privacy.
It's just gross.
And, she's saddened by it.
Yeah,
but if we
we loved it.
If we put an end to it there, then to a certain extent it ends there. That's how news in this society works.
Because we're the media, we're talking about it here, we're putting media out,
to a certain extent, because what are we doing? We're not talking about the news, we're not playing news off as fact, we're not trying to educate or inform, really.
I'm trying to get views and money. Ad revenue.
It's entertainment is what we're doing. We're not news.
That's a joke, by the way. We don't get any money for this.
We're not the BBC. We're not CNN.
We don't have a responsibility.
I have no responsibility to anybody other than maybe myself, and even then, I don't really think about it.
We're hobbyists.
I'm doing. This is basically just a Facebook post that I'm voicing.
But do we have responsibility though? That's what I'm saying. Like
news.
That's the more comfortable
responsibility to who?
To our listeners.
No. My responsibility... I don't have a responsibility. I do this to voice an opinion on however many topics we do a week. Yeah. Maybe discuss it. Maybe go, that's interesting. Do you find it interesting? Go and have a look at it. That's it. Maybe I provide an interesting take on something that people don't... I don't have any responsibility to act morally.
Yeah, but hang on, though. Not necessarily to act morally, but what we choose to talk about. Like, if we put forward the theory that society is crumbling because people pay too much attention to X and Y, then by rerouting people's attention to X and Y, surely we're the perpetrators there.
Yeah.
So do we have a responsibility to not do that?
No, because then there's no chink in the armour. The armour is full of people pulling the let's all talk about X and Y. There's nobody saying we're talking about X and Y and it's fucking stupid that we're talking about X and Y.
Yeah. So maybe...
Because that's the argument for, why EDL, all these kind of people, do we just let them do their own thing, or do we voice our opinion on them and say, this is why they're wrong, this is wrong, their opinions on this are wrong, and this is wrong? Because you're voicing that opinion, and you're saying EDL, and look what EDL have done, and linked to them being drunks and calling people packies in the street. You're linking, you're getting them more attention, getting them more views, and you're probably going to get them a few more supporters.
Yeah.
But you're also hopefully educating the masses who just go, oh, they've got English flags, so they're probably all right.
Yeah, that's true.
You're educating them by saying, well, actually, they're fascist, horrible people.
Yeah, there's more nuance to it than just...
You're not just talking about them.
Yeah.
The pure data of it, the pure data is, yes, people, you see it trending, how many people are talking about X, Y, and Z, but it isn't one opinion on X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, it's... Again, this isn't just one opinion being repeated, it's one opinion being commented on, and then commented on again, and then commented on again.
I mean, what's trending now? Conjunction junction. No idea what that is, but I imagine not all the tweets about conjunction junction are exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's the point. That's our responsibility, is to voice our opinion of it. Because we have no responsibilities, because I'm not answering to anybody else, because I don't have to work for any major company that's spending money this, there and everywhere, I can say, well, this is a bit shit. This is a bit... Or... I don't really care, which is almost the strangest opinion of them all. People are either like, yes, nudes, or this is disgusting.
But it's almost the better opinion because you're sort of leading by example, because people see that not caring is an option, and here it's probably the best option to take. So fuck the fappening. Talking about it for 43 minutes.
Well, fuck all of it. It doesn't matter.
Is there anything else to say on the fappening?
Fuck it. No, it's done. No, it's dead. It's dead in the water. It doesn't matter.
Fuck you.
This ends. This is dying now.
This ends now.
This ends now.
Oh, that would be a good place to end it.
Yeah, that would be good.
Oh, I shouldn't have.
If only we'd cut it there.
Damn.
I'm really.
Made
You
a
know
lot
what
of
I am?
sense.
I'm hot.
I'm really warm as well.
I've got hot from being aggressive.
Yeah.
Shall I open a window?
Oh, that catch as well. Yeah, I need a wee.
See, go for a while.
Yeah, this is what happens with this new podcast format that we're rolling out, where there are segments and the full episode at the end, is that people hear us just sort of having wees. Or peas, if you're American. Yeah, peas.
Do you want to take this and fill it up with the purple jug in the TFC fridge?
In the bar area?
Yeah. Okay. I'm probably just going to chat to the mic for a minute. Is it still recording?
Yeah, look at my screen. Look at the big time code. That's
quite
nifty,
good,
isn't it? Yeah.
That's good. How'd you do that?
Impressive. I'll just...
It's obviously zoomed in massively.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah. Good work.
I've used a program called On Top Replica. You can get that on the internet. I just pointed at you, microphone.
The internet.
Yeah. Seen it.
Seen it. Water from the fridge.
Okay, I'll remember that. I might just wee in this though.
Don't do that.
Oh, right, okay. Thanks. Now, I've ruined the format of it here because I've wandered back in.
You've come back in. Oh, okay. I've literally just leaned in to do a sort of...
Lean back out. And when I close the door...
I'm basically going to do an Alan Bennett sort of monologue here as you go.
That's great. Don't say anything too bad because I'll probably just listen to it.
I won't. I'll probably just chat about my week, maybe.
Alright. See you in a bit.
See you in a bit. Oh. I think Phil crashed into something outside the studio. Went to Prague this week. It's pretty lovely, isn't it, Prague? I don't know if any of you have ever been. But it's well nice. Lots of excellent buildings, cheap food, beer, cigarettes, transport, all that. But I'm not going to talk about the positive, because nobody really wants to hear the positive. I'm going to talk about the negative. I was in a shop, and I was trying to buy tobacco. I don't care. I'm a smoker. I'm a bad person. I'm going to die. Whatever. And this fucking guy wouldn't even look me in the eye. There's nobody in the shop. It's a mini market. And he wouldn't look me in the eye. I said, how much is that, please? Nice, kind gentleman. He literally chuckles like a fucking villain in a fucking film. And he goes, nah, I don't know. And I was almost speechless. And so I sort of ignore him for a second. And I look above him, and there's a big box of the specific brand of tobacco that I want. And the exact amount that you're allowed to bring through airport security. So I say, okay. how much is that then? Because it had one of those little red stickers on that you get in shops. But my eyes are shit. I've only ever had one eye test in my life, and I was about 3. And so, of course, I passed it with flying colours, because I'm a fucking don. But my eyes have gone to shit now. And so I was like, oh, can you tell me how much that box is, please? My friend, my kind shop owner friend. He didn't stand up. No, didn't stand up. He went to reach under the counter. I thought, oh, he's going to get either a price list or a box from under there just to have a little look at it. No, what did he get out? He got out a fucking tin box. Fucking open it up, had fucking thread in it. Wool, thread, yarn, needles and shit. And he's like, I don't know. And he chuckled. And that was the thing that fucking got to me the most. It's not that he said, oh, I don't know, or I honestly can't be asked to get up, my back hurts. If he'd been honest with me, I would have been fine with it. But he chuckled like the mere thought of me asking him how much a fucking product was in his shop was the most ridiculous, disgusting thing he'd ever heard. He just went, I don't know. And I very nearly had to stab him to death on the spot. I had to leave. I just stormed out. And I was fuming for an hour. For an absolute... I was in a rage. How can you work in fucking retail, and not have an ounce of personality, people skills, charisma, desire to work in retail? Just sat there like fucking Billy Big Bollocks and didn't even look at me the entire time. So if you're listening, you're a fucking waste of space. You're an absolute fucking waste of space. Hey Phil.
Sorry.
Hey Phil, how are you, buddy?
Do you ever sit down to
piss all the time?
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Often more than I stand up.
Yeah. I was having a conversation about this with somebody the other day, and she didn't understand.
When I'm not in a rush, I often just sit down.
Do you want some water?
Yeah, I'll have a little sip.
Yeah, I'll sometimes just use that as an opportunity to have a sip. I think there's
Is there?
I watched The Big Lebowski the other day.
Great film.
So it's rubbed off on me.
Great film.
I think there's, an expectation among society for men to sit down while pissing. It's not necessary. Have a sit down. I mean, to stand. There's
a bar in Prague. I didn't go to it. I only found out about it on the plane home.
It's pronounced Prague, by the way.
Praha is actually pronounced. Praha.
But wrong.
There's a bar called the Big Lebowski where you pay what you want for drinks.
0.
0, yeah. I assume it'll be 0.
Did you go?
I didn't go because I only found out about it at the very end of the trip.
I imagine they make a lot of White Russians.
Yeah, you'd go in and have a White Russian. And you'd probably pay a little bit less than what you think you'd pay. You'd go, I'm going to pay nothing in here, lads.
The clientele would be... There'd be a lot of people.
Yeah, people going all the time.
That's a really good idea. Radiohead did that first, and then Nine Inch Nails, and then this bar.
For an album? Did they do it for an album?
It was either drinks or an album.
Probably an album.
Yeah, an album, probably. Have you ever had a White Russian?
Yeah, I drink them quite regularly.
Okay. Is that a joke?
No, I went through about a 2-week stage about 3 months ago where I drank them all the time.
Did you use like milk or Kahlua or what?
We had vodka.
Yeah.
The cheapest Irish cream from Tesco and milk.
What
and cocoa powder.
And cocoa powder?
Yeah, cocoa powder or a bit of like chocolate like topping that you got like cappuccinos.
A square of like Hershey's or Bourneville.
Smart price, own brand. I really like it. I was like dairy intolerant for years, so I can't drink a lot of them. I've never drank a glass of milk in my life, for instance.
Really? You're not Mexican and all that?
Yeah, it looks and tastes pretty shitty.
Coke exists.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why would I do that when there's Victor?
Yeah.
But it's nice. I'll only ever have one, so it's a drink that I don't drink to get drunk. I drink because it's quite pleasant. It's nice, and it's creamy, but it has a little sharp kick from the vodka.
Yeah.
With the chocolate on top, it's quite nice. You can also have Black Russians, but I'm not quite sure how they're made.
Use black milk.
No, it's made with something else.
Coke.
It might be another liqueur.
First of all, I'm going to predict that this full episode of this podcast is going to be 7 hours.
Oh yeah, 7 or 8 hours.
Second of all, do you want a drink?
Yes.
Like actual drinks, and coffee. Because you've got drinks over there, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Is that a bad idea?
No, it's fine.
Or are you saving those for anything?
It's Kahlua and vodka.
Yeah.
Coffee liqueur. whereas White Russian is Irish, like cream, like a Baileys almost. Do you have a cup?
Shall I get some?
I'll go and get some if you want to put some ice in them. You can do a little...
I'll chat to the mic.
I did a very angry one, so if you want to...
What did you do one about?
Oh, you'll have to listen. You'll have to listen to full Epi Saturday.
I don't really know what to talk about. I recently got an Instagram, ladies and gentlemen. You can follow TFC Podcast on Instagram. It's TFC Podcast. See, when Matt is in front of the mic, he talks about interesting things that have happened to him. I seem to just devolve into self-promotion. But that's my strong suit, really, is self-promotion. I'm just a great guy like that. I'm a cool dude. Big Lebowski. If you've never seen The Big Lebowski, you should watch The Big Lebowski. And any Coen Brothers film. The Coen Brothers are brilliant writers because not only do they have very little regard for storytelling as a sort of moral device or like a mythic device or anything like that, but they also know that they fit into that category, and they have a strong passion for sort of dialogue and minutiae, which is like a whole subgenre of films these days. Like Kevin Smith is big in that, Judd Apatow is big in that, but the Coen Brothers are the absolute masters of dick pics. Oh, hi there.
Hi there, buddy.
You're talking about dick pics.
Here's some ice in a cup. I've got some... Actually, I'll take it up to the bar.
Yeah, take it over to the bar area. How do you feel about the Coen Brothers?
Coen Brothers, yeah. Pretty good. Probably a little bit overrated because everyone says they're the best thing ever. But, yeah.
Any brilliant filmmaker is overrated, really. Oh, by the way, I just mentioned Kevin Smith.
What size is this, by the way?
Oh, I don't know what size that is.
Okay.
It's average for my height and weight.
So if I leave it there, it'll just crinkle.
It's sort of A5, but I cut off the... Okay, for the microphone, Matt is holding up a little drawing that I did for his birthday, which is him as Clint Eastwood in The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. But I did it in a sketchbook and it was ring bound, so I cut off the little perforation-y things on the side. So it's roughly A5, but if you put it in an A5 like frame or something, it sort of won't fit.
What do you want, by the way?
What have you got over there?
I've got a honey bourbon.
Yeah.
I've got a Fire Eater cinnamon whiskey.
Is it going to be something on the rocks?
Yeah. I've got a little bit of water.
I'll have the Fire Eater whiskey on the rocks then.
How much do you want?
That much, please. That whiskey with Coke is amazing.
Oh, I drank all the Coke.
Did you? No, I wasn't suggesting. I was just saying it's really nice.
I also have some elderberry port.
Ooh.
But there's only 200 millilitres of it.
That's an interesting bottle.
Yeah, it's from like a specific micro brewery.
Brewery, yeah. Brewery. I feel like this is the most relaxed that we will ever get in front of the microphone, probably. See, this is people who download the full episode of TLDR now will get this. And I'm not sure if that's a good thing. I'm not sure if they should be like, oh, yay! We get to listen to the shit. Thank you.
That's fine, isn't it? Take it or leave it. Love us or hate us.
Love us. Please. Cheers.
That's nice. It's fiery, but it's nice.
It's fiery. It's very fiery. What's it called again?
Fire Eater.
Fire Eater. There you go. It works. Right, I'm going to move on to something now. Matt.
Phil.
I would like you to download an app for me.
Right now?
Yeah.
On my iPhone.
Have I caught you off guard?
Other phones are available.
Like what?
Samsung phones, Motorola's.
Nokia's.
Yeah, Nokia's. What do you want me to download?
Oh yeah, I should have... See, I started stalling and vamping before I told you what to download. That didn't really work. I'd like to download an app called Wakey. Wakie. This is an app that's
Wakie?
Yes. This has been... this is quite a recent release, this app. I'll read out this headline for you. Forget alarm clocks, Wakey wakes you with phone calls from strangers. So we're about to wake somebody up, live on air.
App is available in Russian language only.
What? This is throwing me off.
There's an app here.
Yeah.
If I type in Wakey, I get two options. One is Walkie and D,
Right.
and one is in Russian here.
Oh, do you know what? It's not yet available on the App Store.
Oh,
I should have read that first. Shit.
where is it available? Can I get it anywhere?
Windows Store and Android Store. Windows Store, I might be able to get it on this, but I doubt it. Oh, this is throwing a spanner in the works. I was really excited because we would have been able to call someone
And wake them up.
Because the idea of this app, this is a new app, Wakey, where instead of setting an alarm for yourself, you basically do set an alarm for yourself. You say, I want to wake up at 9 o'clock. But then at 9 o'clock, some random person will ring you.
Yeah.
And they have 1 minute to wake you up and say, wake up, or whatever. And then you
Wake
chat
up.
to them and say, oh, thanks. And by the way, it's someone from the opposite gender, which is interesting.
Oh, hello. Oh, I was going to try it on my Kindle, but it's dead.
Oh, fuck. It's got the charger. That's a good idea. But basically, when you launch the app, you can either be a waker or, a sleeper. And if you're a sleeper, someone will call you. But if you're a waker, it will say, like, 37 people need waking up at this time. So you just click one of them at random, and it will call them.
That's a clever idea.
Yeah.
But surely you're going to get a lot of people who are just going to ring up and go, ah, you're a stupid fuck, ah!
I mean, that's going to be almost all of it, I imagine. I'm searching on my laptop on the Windows Store. Nope.
Who developed this little app?
That's weird. You can tell that we're stalling now. Who developed it? Nobody cares. TechCrunch. Oh no, not TechCrunch. That's a blog.
Why is it not available?
I don't fucking
Why
know
is it not
who.
fucking available?
Well, it's new. It's like brand new. Wakey is available for Android and Windows Phone, though the iPhone version is currently awaiting approval from Apple, so it should be live very soon. I read this and thought, well, this article is like a week old. It'll
not
be
fucking available yet.
Available now, but I was wrong. Should do research, really.
Should do research.
But here's a little look for you. So you see, it says there, 55 sleepies want to wake up right now, and you just tap the button to say, wake someone up.
And it just rings them.
Yeah. And you rate people as well. So I suppose that's what stops people from just being
Just
arseholes,
being a dickhead.
is that there's a rating system. So I guess there's like an honour system involved. But I feel like this is a really interesting
Concept.
Yeah.
It's an idea that I think would work quite well to a certain extent if you could get rid of all the idiots who are just going to be like, oh, you're terrible.
Well, that's what the rating system is for, I guess. But would you use this to actually wake up?
Yeah, if people want to give it a go, I'm not probably the best person to start this with.
Well, you're an interesting case because you have narcolepsy.
Yeah, buddy. Well, officially I have narcolepsy, but I don't think I have narcolepsy.
You don't think you have narcolepsy?
No.
What?
I don't
Since
think...
when?
The more I read into it, the less I think I have it.
Why? What do you think you have?
I don't know. That's the thing. And a lot of the things that I've looked into, like just sort of excessive sleep or prolonged periods of this and that.
It was just laziness.
All just says, no, a lot of it says, well, the only stuff they give you anyway is narcolepsy medication.
Right.
There's not enough research in this field.
Ah, right.
So what can I do about it? So I've not really delved in further.
Okay, so what is narcolepsy versus what you have? From what you've read.
From speaking to other narcoleptics, being part of a lot of narcolepsy sites and like Facebook groups and stuff,
Yeah.
there's a lot of taking naps. I like a nap, but I like a long nap. I'll have like a 6-7 hour nap.
More of a sleep. More of a full-on sleep.
To me, that's a nap. I'll have like a 6 hour sleep then.
You've slept for like 24 hours quite a lot of
Yeah,
times.
I've done that in the past. And whereas narcolepsy is a lot of like, well, I'll have a 3 hour nap here,
Yeah.
and then be up for a little while, and then 3 hour nap, and then there's a lot of periods where it's really hard to get to sleep.
Yeah.
And I'm the opposite of that. I have long naps, and I find it very easy to get to sleep. And when I do go to sleep, it isn't for lots of short periods of time.
It's for one bit.
It's for a 12-hour stretch.
So I didn't know that insomnia was a part of narcolepsy, because the standard. I think the average person has basically an incorrect idea of what narcolepsy is. Because when you say narcolepsy, most people think that it's people who just
Immediately. They think it's Rowan Atkinson's character out of The Rat Race.
Exactly, yeah. Or those goats on YouTube.
And that's true in the like most severe case. Like people can be like that.
Right.
But it's so ridiculously rare.
So what is narcolepsy then? a higher propensity to fall asleep.
Yeah, and a lot of narcolepsy is linked a lot with cataplexy. I don't know if you know what that is.
I've heard it. What is it?
But it's like where you
muscles,
almost like paralysis. And I've had like brief sleep paralysis things, but only like matter of seconds.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I can't move.
Yeah.
But some people get it very severely, and so they'll just be walking and just fall over.
Oh, really?
And that they come hand in hand.
And that's like one of those little dolls where you push the bottom, and the strings become loose, and it just goes.
Yeah, it just flops down. It's like that, and a lot of people you see on these groups are just like, yeah, I've smashed up my arm again. And they come hand in hand. They're not the same. And you have like triggers and severity of attacks and all that.
What are triggers? What sort of triggers are there?
Like emotional stress or like nerves or overexcitement or like whatever it is, but a lot of it, like an emotion, a severe emotion, good or bad. You know, stress, nerves, worry, etc. A lot of people they get it with laughter.
Laughter? So laughter will cause you to fall asleep?
Well, no, it will cause you to have like a cataplexy where you freeze almost because like your body's so free and like moving so fast that like I don't know how it triggers. I've not really read.
Terrifying.
I've not really read into it because I don't have it.
Yeah.
So it's on.
The Kindle is on.
Shall I try it?
Well, before you do, I just want to round up this thought. The reason that I thought that Wakey would be. This app would be a bit weird for you is that you also experience this thing where as soon as you wake up sometimes you're sort of asleep but awake. I don't know what is that?
That is a narcoleptic thing. It's called auto motion. I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically where you do things that are very familiar to you.
Yeah, like you go through the motions. You act out schemas and stuff, and
you're not fully awake.
Because I've rang you before saying, like, I'm 5 minutes away from the house and I'm about to come, and you're just... The entire conversation was like, yeah, all right, that's cool, yeah, fine then. And then I found out afterwards that you...
Gold average for my height.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Your basic... because it's in-jokes from TFC.
And that is the thing, a lot of people are like, yeah, I had a call with work this morning, and they said... And I just sort of nodded along and said yes, and I don't...
But then you don't recall that conversation.
And so I often get, like, people will come in the morning and be like, okay, just off here, don't forget to do X in the afternoon. I'll be like, yeah, sure, that's fine, whatever. Just go immediately back to sleep.
So wakey might not work for you. Or how often does that happen?
Well, the thing is, that's with things that are very familiar to you.
And there's a lot of novelty to this.
Yeah, this is a voice you won't recognise. It's
also, you'll be like, oh, I'm excited to try this new app, so you'll probably be alert. Why is that going off? Have you got a lot of notice?
It's
Is it dick pics?
Netflix is installing.
Oh, fucking hell.
Thanks, Netflix. Nice to hear from you.
We're actually sponsored by Netflix.
Are we?
Yeah, if you go to netflix.com/PB and lowercase nj, which is your J Kyber and I'm the P Bear, then
search the App Store. Let's see if it works.
You get 100% prices. All the prices are as advertised.
As normal.
Yeah.
I think it's about £6.
What is? Oh, Netflix.
Netflix, not Wakey.
Oh yeah, I forgot that the videos aren't individually priced. That's the point of Netflix.
Your search for Wakey did not match any results.
Oh what? Oh no, you're searching your own apps there. You fucking.
No, I'm not.
Are you sure?
I don't have Gangster Vegas installed on my.
Are you sure?
I don't have any of these because you have to pay for them.
Have you launched like Google Play? Is that what that is?
I just went on apps on my Kindle Fire.
See if there's a link to Google Play. I really would love to try this out.
Do you want me to just Google it on the Silk?
Don't you have an icon? Don't you have a Google Play?
Yeah, it just says apps and then you go to store, but it's not Google Play, I don't think.
Maybe it's not available on Kindle then. I might quickly Google Wakey Kindle.
Oh, was that you Googling?
No. What do you mean?
It just went boom as soon as you did it.
Oh, but you were trying to do a joke.
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
You just ignored it.
Yeah, I was like, whoop. I can't find any documentation on it. I mean, it's such a new thing. Listen, if we can't get this to work, we'll record it separately and throw it in.
We might get it to work. You never know.
Yeah, I would hope we would. I'd hope we do. But I'm saying either way, we will endeavour to do this in front of a microphone.
Yeah,
should we though?
Do it.
Is there not a problem of like consent?
Well, we'll just do it to a couple of people. Like, you're live on TLDR. The Internet Digest. Wake up, good morning. It'll, smell the coffee. It's a beautiful day to be alive.
If they say, I don't want to be on a podcast, we'll just edit it out. Or
we'll say, yes, you do.
But will they have the wherewithal to say, I do not want my image to be used in any of the following circumstances?
Wakey. Here we go.
Oh, have you got it?
I've not got it. I'm just on a page.
You can see it, though. Yes, that's the one.
Install.
Oh, brilliant. I really want to wake someone up. How do you want to wake them up?
Does this even have a microphone?
Oh. Hello. What is it? What do I Google? Is it Kindle HD Fire?
Please sign in to continue.
Is that what it is? HD Fire?
Yeah.
Microphone. Is there a microphone? Yes. Apparently there is.
Well, brilliant then.
7 inches. I think that's slightly above average. Well done. I suppose that joke only works if you can see what I can see here. I'm referring not to his dick, but to the tablet.
What's our email password? Is it what I think it is?
Yeah, I think with the numbers on the end.
That's what I tried, but it didn't work.
Maybe without the numbers on the end.
Oh, no, it worked.
Yeah, good. I was really about to just say it then.
Yeah.
I was really...
It's,
12. Not out of stupidity, but out of knowing full well that that's a bad thing to do,
but not giving a care.
Yeah, I just don't give a care. I'm just too much of a cool customer. You know what I mean? I'm a cool camel, Matt.
Oh.
Have you got it?
Choose a device. No eligible devices for app install.
Oh, no. So you can't get it?
I can't get it, no. We'll have to wait till it comes out on the...
No, bollocks. Buy a Samsung.
Most visited pages on the Kindle Internet is an interesting one.
What is it?
Lords of Pain, which is wrestling, Pornhub, and YouTube. So,
all your bases.
Yeah, all my bases.
Journalism, check. Film, check. YouTube, check.
Wakey does sound like an interesting idea, though, Phil. I will give you that.
Well, this is probably my fault that I didn't
read the article. Yeah. I would say yes.
I did. I skimmed the article, but on the website it does say in massive letters, available on the App Store soon. And that's what caught me off. I just looked at it and thought, listen, we all make mistakes.
We do.
I need to quickly Google Kennedy apology transcript, because that is a good one. Maybe the Nixon one. Yeah, I'll go with the Nixon apology transcript. Good evening. This is the 37th time, 37 in a row, that I have spoken to you from this office, where so many decisions have been made that shape the history of this nation, capital N. Each time I've done so to discuss with you some matter that I believe affected the national interest, lowercase n. In all the decisions I've made in my pubic life, I might say public, I've always tried to do what is best for the nation, capital N. Throughout the long and difficult period of Watergate, I have felt it was my duty to persevere, to make every possible effort to... blah, 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 blah. Basically what it's saying is, I'm very sorry. And that's from the bottom of my heart. I'm sorry that I made the mistake of not realising that Wakey wasn't available on the iPhone.
It's alright, man. Don't worry. I'll let you off this time.
But at some point, we
will definitely do it. I want to do it.
Yeah. It sounds fun. Let's move on to something else, shall we? Shame that Wakey didn't happen.
Why don't we...
We're behind the scenes at the minute, by the way.
Make it a public thing, where we just sort of talk about it every week. Bring it back up.
About Wakey?
Yeah, and if it's still not here, I'll just do a little rundown. We could, like, not here. Wakey, not here. Yeah,
but when it finally is here, we could have like a weekly segment.
Yeah, where we just ring people.
We'll wake someone up. Brilliant. We are behind the scenes on TLDR. We're going to move on to the next thing. Do you have any preference? I've got one that's light, one that's not light, and one that's Joan Rivers. Do you have any preference?
We'll do the not light, and then end on Joan.
Right.
That's how she'd like it.
You what, sorry? That's how she'd like it?
Yeah.
End on Joan.
End on Joan.
Hashtag end on Joan.
Hashtag end on Joan.
End on Joan. I don't know.
She loved that.
I just have a visual of a facial cum shot.
Facial cum.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
facial cum
the
shot.
problem with that.
But she would love that.
She'd love it.
She's all about that kind of thing.
Matty, do you describe yourself as a gamer?
No.
What?
Do I describe myself as a gamer? No, not at all.
No.
No.
That's caught me off guard.
Although I did hear that Sims 4 is out, and I was like, oh, I might look into that. Never did. Is it out?
Yes, you can download the free Create a Sim demo, but I've already made Jeff Lebowski in it, so there's not much else to do.
What I'll probably do is like wait a month or 2 months
And then pirate it.
and then pirate it for free.
Well, the thing with Sims 4 is that, like...
Oh, fans!
Car just went by limo. The thing with The Sims is that they release these expansion packs, as you probably know, where they have they give you extra content. But with The Sims 4, it seems like the base game is so bare that they're going to just plan to release all these expansion packs with things that were originally going to be in the game. Like pools aren't in the game, so I guess they're going to release an expansion pack later on down the road.
Pools aren't in the game.
No.
What, like swimming pools?
Yeah. So
Why
they're going to be
in the game.
Well, because they can now sell you pools.
That's ridiculous.
Because they give us 20 quid for this expansion pack. Pool Party, The Sims Pool Party, or whatever it's going to be called. I bet Pool Party.
That's bad, you know.
Well, that's why you should pirate it.
I will.
Yeah. You should steal from them, otherwise they're stealing from you. Mate, do you describe yourself as a gamer?
If you'd asked me this question 10 years ago, I would have said yes. I used to play a lot of PS2.
What did you play? PS2?
Yeah, PS2. Whatever. I used to have a load of games on PS2 to this day.
You still do, I can see them.
No, that's only about a quarter, and then I took loads of them with me to uni and left them there.
They're gone.
Completely, they're gone. Yeah,
They're very valuable PlayStation 2 games.
completely gone.
So you're not a gamer?
No.
Are you aware of the big hoo-ha that's gone on to do with the word gamer over the past week or so? Hashtag Gamergate, that doesn't ring any bells for you?
Hashtag Gamergate, no.
Well, this is something that sort of slipped by me, really. I vaguely knew that it was happening. I vaguely knew the vague outlines of vaguely what it was. But it's that sort of thing where it just seems so fucking stupid that I don't pay any attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's come to the time to do TLDR, and it seems like a fairly important part of what's happened on the internet, so I've looked into it a bit.
Right.
So what happened basically is that there's a game developer, an indie game developer called Zoe Quinn.
Female, I've noticed.
Yeah, Zoe Quinn,
Is this going to come into play?
Oh yes!
I thought
this is going to be a fun conversation. Strap in.
Let me just rearrange myself because... yeah, go.
Put on the blazer. Zoe Quinn, she's a developer. She's made games such as Depression Quest.
Oh, that sounds shit.
Simulates what it's like to have depression.
Oh, cheers, thanks for that. Do you know what I'll stick to? Anything but that. Who cares about that? That is terrible.
So
bad decision.
She's faced all this harassment.
Yeah.
Air quotes. No, I'm not belittling it by doing air quotes. I feel like, right off the bat, a broad disclaimer. Neither of us know what we're talking about. We're both stupid. We're both going to say things here that are going to be awful and then immediately feel sorry about it. So you don't have to tell us that we're awful. We know we are.
The thing about these conversations is we both bring different things to the table and the other person doesn't know about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you're telling me this and I'm immediately reacting.
Yeah, you're having your gut reaction.
If I thought about it, I'd have 2 minutes of dead air.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So, Depression Quest might be really helpful and useful to the families of those suffering depression.
Exactly.
But who gives a shit about that? That's not a game. That's a tool for medicine or something.
I don't think it's FDA approved.
Zoe Quinn.
Right, so she made... can you hear that car outside?
Is that Zoe?
I would have thought that's Quinn. No. Wait! I can give an interview. We don't want you to.
What I did is I opened the windows to let in the air.
But that's a clever idea, because now it's a bit cool. Zoe Quinn... Her ex-boyfriend came out and said that she'd slept with like 5 or 6 different people over the course of their relationship and shit like this.
Yeah.
And then loads of people have been, slut-shaming her, whatever you call it.
Okay.
Harassing her over the internet. And just being pretty bad. I mean, I've not seen any of the examples, but I've seen the reaction to it. And like the FBI is looking into some of it, so it must be quite bad what she's faced. I don't know.
So... she's a game developer.
Yeah.
Is that important in any way whatsoever?
Yeah.
Her role as a game developer.
Yes, because she has one of the people that she was supposed to have slept with.
Yeah.
Is a writer for Kotaku, which, as you know,
is shit. Yeah.
No, as you know, is a. It's funny because you don't know what it is, so I threw it over to you.
What is it?
It's a game journalism website.
Oh.
And so people are saying, "Oh, journalists shouldn't have a vested interest in this fucking slut women. I hate women." You know, all this has come out. So this is the first leg of Gamergate. Is that?
Oh, this is only the first leg. Do you want my quick opinion on this one?
You can weigh in as we go.
Zoe Quinn banged about in a relationship. It's got nothing really to do with the industry of its own. She slept with somebody because he was probably a co-worker. They were in communication a lot.
Probably had a big old dick.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. You replace gaming there with film, and that's been done endlessly and endlessly and endlessly. That's how people work.
I mean, I imagine J-Law and Ebert, for example.
Yeah.
Whoa,
when he'd lost that bottom bit of his jaw.
Yeah. Only made it more. Let's not.
Yeah. No, but
make her own jokes.
At this point, the gaming shit isn't really important. She slept about. It's a bad thing to do. Who cares?
I mean, it's a bad thing to do because she was in a relationship. It's not a bad thing to do broadly. Like, if you're single, that's fine.
Not a bad thing to do, Zoe. You were in a relationship. It's probably bad. He might have been lying. Was he lying?
There are a lot of people saying that he might have been lying. I don't know.
Is he jealous of Depression Quest?
Probably. It's taken off in a big way.
I imagine it has. Can I get it on Steam?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm fucking not going to.
It's one of those things where people will describe it as like an indie darling and a gem and stuff like that, and journalists will go crazy over it. Because games journalism used to be basically, you're going to shut the window.
Yeah.
Intelligent things to do. Games journalism, once upon a time, was like, should you buy this game, yes or no? No! And it was basically just film criticism, but for games. Because it was such a new medium that that's what people knew, so they just carried that over. But now it's a lot more its own thing, and indie developers are of, large interest to games journalists.
Yeah.
Games journalists focus on indie games and indie developers such as Zoe Quinn. So yeah, Depression Quest is pretty big for journalists, and the fact that they, boned or maybe didn't, has caused a lot of gamers to call into question the ethics of games journalists and the responsibility that they have to remain impartial and all of this other bullshit. No, you're shaking your head.
They don't have to remain impartial. You don't really have to remain impartial at any point.
Well,
that's not how it's ever going to work. That's not how any other industry, film, music, TV, comedy. That's not really how it works.
I suppose not really, because I suppose
there's always a bias of some kind.
Like Roger Ebert, again, to use that example, is the only film critic that I can pull whose name people will be familiar with.
As Roger Ebert is the most famous film critic of all time.
And he was surely friends with a lot of filmmakers.
He was friends with a lot of people. He was a person who was interested in certain things, been in the film game a long time. A lot of modern, different things he didn't really appreciate. And in hindsight, he watched again later and said, oh, well, actually, that was really good.
Yeah.
And he changed his mind over time, but he had his friends. I don't know if he was married, he had a wife, whatever, but...
Oh, he did, yeah.
Of course.
She was black.
Really?
I think so.
Good for him.
Maybe not.
Breaking barriers. Yeah. But, you're always going to be biased if you're in the industry to a certain point. I can sit here and start tomorrow as a games journalist.
No, you can't.
A gaming journalist. Because
you play games, mate.
Well, yeah, exactly, but I can still do it. People will think I'm the most stupid person in the world and I don't know what I'm talking about.
There's a market there.
But I'm doing it, and I have no contact, no information with the industry whatsoever.
Yeah, I've never thought...
Once you're inside the walls of the city, you're a part of the city.
Oh, nice metaphor.
I literally just made that up on the spot.
Put it there. Good boy. Well done. But I've never thought of this. That is true. Like in film, that expectation isn't there. But in games journalism, there's a certain expectation that the journalists aren't too friendly with the developers. Like, it's just a thing that's arisen. Like, there's the one games website that I follow a lot is giantbomb.com. And they are friends with a lot of developers. Like they're known as being quite friendly to developers.
Yeah.
like developers like them, so they are
Well,
friends with
that's
lots
a
of them.
good business strategy, because then they'll tell
it's
you
not,
things.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, they don't use it as a business strategy. Like, they'll... Like, let's say they're friends with a certain developer and that developer releases a new game.
Yeah.
On principle, they won't review that game, for example, because they don't want to give off the impression that they have a vested interest in it. And when they do write about it, they'll be very... In the article, they'll be very upfront about saying, listen, we're friends with this person, so our opinion is biased. And in that way, it's a good thing because they can give their actual opinion.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
So... I mean, it's an expectation that maybe should be there with films, but I don't know. Films is such a huge industry that it's not
it's a much
reasonable.
bigger industry than gaming.
Like, there's not a lot of... Like, an indie film usually still has about 100 people working for it.
Yeah,
if it's an indie film you've heard of.
In a game.
Like, when it comes to game developers, you can pull a lot of names of just people who have made games. Like, there's a guy called Phil Fish.
Yeah.
I like his name because his real name is Phil Poisson, and it's from, like, Quebec. Quebec.
Lovely.
But Poisson is French for fish.
Yeah.
So it comes from Phil
Clever.
Fish. A lot of people don't like him because he says a lot of brash things. But again,
Respect that.
Whatever. Anyway, this is all besides the point. The point is that people are now, as a fallout to this, to gamers being like, oh, fucking shut up about... Because Zoe Quinn is very outspoken about women in video games.
Of course.
And so gamers are attacking her for that as well. They're saying, not only do you sleep around, but you also keep talking about women. No one cares about women. And then, as a backlash to that, loads of actual journalists and games journalists and just people are saying gamers are all arseholes and just little bastards, and we should abandon the word gamer because it's gendered at this point. It's become something that means men.
Well, from
or
that
boys.
From that story of female developer sleeps around, gamers hate on her for being a slag, and sort of, who was this bloke? Was he just a random bloke, or was he in the industry as well?
Let me quickly Control F.
Because it seems like the sort of old boys club, which really is, the stereotype is sort of fat, obese, hairy guys sitting in a basement. They're all just ganging up on the new. Because...
Yeah, it does feel a bit like that.
It feels as I don't know the situation. I've not read into it at all, but it seems like everything that's very stereotypical about gaming, that it's very like a sort of nerdy guys thing.
Yeah,
you're all coming out of the woodwork, and that sort of troll aspect is sort of a very similar picture. The society is sort of troll guy, sort of unhappy, miserable, fat, overweight guy.
Mountain Dew, fat carpal tunnel,
is the
hairy.
Exact thing people were saying about gamers, 15 years ago. It's that same stereotype.
Yeah.
And while stereotyping isn't true, and gaming is taking off massively, and everybody's a gamer, I'm in a position now where I feel more of a minority because I don't know anything or play any games at all.
Well, yeah, you're almost like a special case here.
Yeah,
people
whereas...
will expect most people who have podcasts to know about games if they're a certain
Whereas,
age.
like 5 or 10 years ago, that wasn't the case at all.
Yeah.
But you're not helping your cause at all, especially with old media.
Yeah.
With old media, which is like TV and journalists who now maybe are branching out, to websites and things, because everybody has them. But old media still has a very sort of skewed view of gaming, to me. That's how I see it.
It has a particular ideology still.
That it's, it's first-person shooters of aliens, usually, and it's a bit weird, and it's a sort of get out for these losers, basically.
Yeah.
That's how... old media's a shit phrase, but that's how certain people think about it.
The old guard, whatever you want to call it.
And you're adding fuel to their fire by...
Attacking women.
Attacking women. But it's not attacking women. I'm all for attacking women.
Whoa.
No,
you'll want to qualify that, Matt.
Yeah, and I'm going to qualify it. If
Let's see how he pulls himself out of this.
If women want equality on all platforms, then you have to be open to being called out on all platforms, and you have to not only accept the good but the bad. And if I think you're wrong, I should be able to voice my opinion just as I would to a man to you.
Yeah. But
I'm not going to call you a cunt, but I'm going to speak my mind. And if that's negative,
Okay, but
as long as I'm not attacking you as a person or your gender or your sex, then that's fine.
Well, they are.
But they are.
This is the thing.
This is
not
what I'm
all
saying.
criticisms are valid. That's the thing. A lot of criticisms.
No, and this is what I'm
veiled anger.
I'm saying. Like, I've not read any of it. I don't know what they're saying, but from what you've told me, it seems to be very attacking the gender, attacking her place in the industry, attacking her actions in the industry, I suppose, her reasons for being there, and that's something you can't attack. You can attack somebody's actions, and that's why slut shaming is to a certain extent bad.
Yeah,
I admit that, but like I said earlier, or in yesterday's episode, it works to a certain extent. And if you have that feeling, I feel you should be able to throw it out there. I think you should be able to slut shame, but that's just me. But
why do you feel like you should be able? Is slut shaming a good or a bad thing in your opinion?
It depends on the situation, because I don't think you should be able to shame or belittle or use something that somebody has no say in as means of offence, or as means to like belittle them or their argument. I'm not gonna, if you're disabled, there's nothing you can do about that. If you're black, there's nothing you can do about that. If there's a woman, nothing you can do about that. But your actions that you put out,
but
that's how I incorporate it. I'm not speaking for anybody else but me.
But is being a quote unquote slut, is that a bad thing inherently?
No,
I don't think so either.
If you're a single person and you want to sleep with 80 people a day, I mean, I probably wouldn't advise it. But if you want to do it, knock yourself out, go ahead. But you have to also accept that some people are going to be like, why the fuck are you sleeping with 80 people a day? That's a ridiculous thing to do. And the opposite is just the same. If I said, well, I'm single and I'm not going to sleep with anybody ever.
Yeah.
So many people are like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Abstinence is just as...
It also
just as weird as people who are slags.
Yeah. And you have to expect...
If you put out an action, if you act in a certain manner that isn't the norm, then regardless of whether you consider it the norm, whether it should be the norm, if you act in a way that isn't considered a norm by society, then you have to expect that some people will question that, maybe even attack it. That's not a bad thing. That's happened so many times in the past, and change has come from that, and revolution, and brilliant.
There's a difference between expecting it and being complacent. I think you should be proactive about it. Like, maybe you should expect a backlash and be ready with a comeback, and use that as a platform to say to break down the taboo or whatever.
If at the end of the day, as long as you're abiding in the laws of wherever you live and you're happy, you're content with what you're doing, then that's fine. But people are allowed to question that.
And you're also not hurting other people.
Yeah, like abiding within the laws, not being a cunt to other people. As long as whatever you're doing affects you and only you, and you're completely content with that, that's fine. That's why you can eat yourself to death.
Yeah.
That's why you can fuck whoever you want, you can do whatever you want, you can drive, say whatever you want, you can believe whatever you want.
Yeah.
But if you're like, well, I believe that all gay people are going to hell, then a lot of people are going to be like, well, pull it back. What are you talking about? That's fucking mental.
Yeah.
And it's the same with, I like to sleep with about 2 different guys a week or whatever,
Yeah.
Same with guys. You have to expect some people are going to question your opinion.
Yeah.
And the more extreme it is to society's norms...
Yeah, the more outside of the norm it is.
Outspoken and often aggressive people will be.
Yeah.
Like, that's the argument with Westboro Baptist Church. They're very outspoken, they say the most ridiculous things, and they get the most ridiculous reaction. You get people just punching them in the face. You're not gonna gain anything from that. No. But when you put out such an extreme action and emotion, you have to expect extreme response.
Yeah. But, I mean, the thing that you have to understand with this is that this is sort of maybe a special case, because there's already, even before Gamergate, there's already been this huge thing of people... I mean, women in video games has been a talking point for a few years.
Yeah.
And the idea is that women aren't very well represented whatsoever in either video games or the video gaming community or the video gaming culture, like gamer culture.
Yeah.
And this is almost being used as a platform to talk about that. And, I mean, it's true. I mean, like on a certain level, I'd sometimes get tired of people going on and on about it. But then, on another level, I would be really annoyed if it was men who are represented badly in video games. So I can really sympathise. Like,
surely,
I mean, there is a problem there.
Surely, though, the gaming community, the industry as a whole, is such a new medium, such a new vessel, I suppose, in a way, that it's not automatically going to be exactly like you want it to be. It's such a new playing field that things are going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is, surely. Are people saying, like we've spoken, I don't know if we've spoken about it on air or off air or whatever, but the whole video game characters, not enough of them being women.
Yeah.
But are people responding to that by saying there shouldn't be any women and there will never be any women in any game? That's the problem.
It's not that as much.
There's not any in this story.
Usually what happens is that someone will come out and say, listen, it's not cricket, it's not kosher that this game has come out and it's worth like millions of dollars and there's really no female characters. And then usually what will happen when someone says that is that some gamer will come out of the woodwork and say, oh, shut the fuck up, no one cares. They won't necessarily go the opposite way and say there shouldn't be women in video games, but they'll belittle the argument. Yeah, okay. They'll diminish the argument as if it's not worth talking about. And that's really the problem, is that this idea of the gamer, which, I mean, by naming this group of people, that's a bad move to begin with, because then you have this idea of this race of troll people who don't exist. I mean, there's no nuance there. Like, I was recently listening to a podcast called Ear Biscuits, hosted by these YouTubers called Rhett and Link, where they interview different YouTubers every week. And they had John Green on, who's the author of The Fault in Our Stars, the book, and it's been made into a movie. And they asked him what the things that annoyed him most are. And he said that one of the things is conversations without nuance. When I heard it, I was like, oh, shut the fuck up, John Green, what are you talking about? But then I ruminated on it a bit and I thought, I started to see it everywhere. And I'm seeing it here. Like, this is a conversation where it's easy to not have nuance. And it's alerted me to the importance of nuance in conversations. And it's like, I'm going to sound like a twat if I say that word too much.
Yeah,
nuance. But it's still true. Like it's easy to just say, oh, gamers versus us versus them or whatever. You're boiling it down too much.
Can't be isolated.
Yeah.
And like I say, I've no background in this at all, but I feel like this is people just attacking a woman for being a woman rather than her actions.
Yeah.
And surely that's a bigger issue than the gaming community.
Well, that's what the issue is. The issue is that this is the way the gaming community behaves. But
is that because there's not those figures in the industry yet? There's not enough of them. If film is, an all boys club and then some women come along, there's probably going to be a few. What's going on here? Not even from the people in the industry, but those who watch and those who, because it's new and it's weird and we've not quite got our heads around it yet. Or are we just being terrible people? What's the?
I mean, my opinion is that this is a hugely complicated issue, and if you want to talk about like stories, this has always been a problem. Is that any action movie, any novel, any work of fiction that you pull is generally going to have a male character as the lead. And I think the roots of this go all the way back to ancient mythology, where it's always been like mythological stories have always been stories about boys becoming men. Yeah. And then there are specifically female gendered versions of that, which are about girls becoming women. But what it means to be a woman in ancient Babylonia or whatever, it doesn't necessarily apply here. Well, yes, it's to be one with nature and to be the life bringer. And that doesn't necessarily apply in a society where women can and want to be more than that often. Yeah. Like the ancient idea is that men have societal function and women have natural life function or whatever. And maybe that's the better way of looking at it. Maybe it's the worst way of looking at it. I don't know enough to have an opinion, but either way, that doesn't gel with our society at the minute. So we have all of these archetypes to fall back on for male stories.
Yeah.
But we've sort of got to start from the ground up for female stories if we want to go with this idea that women can and or should be as much of a societal force as men. Which,
what's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm not weighing in. I don't have an opinion on that either way because I don't know enough about it.
I texted a friend of ours.
Yeah.
Said, run me through Gamergate because he's quite a big game. He said, easy. Watch Meat Spin for 12 hours. You'll get the gist.
That's about it.
So there's that.
Who is he? Do you want to give him a shout out?
Waggy. It's just
Waggy. Oh, is it Waggy?
Yeah, it's just Waggy.
I thought it was someone I didn't know.
No, it's Waggy.
But I mean, what I was saying basically is that it's very difficult to write a story based around a woman and to have it be anything impactful or meaningful or, you know, because it's just not been done very much, so there's not much to fall back on. Like if you wanted to write a story that centres around a man, there are so many tropes and archetypes that you can fall back on. Shouldn't
the fact that it's such a new canvas be exciting?
Yeah, definitely. For very creative people who have these creative juices and who also have the means to make video games. But people who exist with the means to make video games are very few and far between, and maybe they need to be encouraged to be excited about this.
But then why would they change something that isn't broken? If I run a video game making company, and I've done so for 10 years, and I'm making money, why would I push a lot of money into making something that might well fail? There's a much bigger chance that it will fail. And Well,
that's looking at it from a business standpoint.
Yeah, no, but that's how they'll look at it.
Well, not indie developers who tend to be more artists than business people.
Yeah, and that's...
Like Zoe Quinn, for example.
And that's lovely, but that's not going to change the industry.
Well, it very well may be. Like, what's the most popular game ever as an indie game? Minecraft. That's the most popular game ever. Mm-hmm. It was made by...
Yeah, but the reason it's the most popular game ever because it isn't a game as such. It has no story, it has no narrative, it has no art.
Yeah, but whatever, that's not the point. The point is that that's an indie game. Indie games are...
Yeah, I'm not saying they don't have any impact, but you're all going to have to club together or you're going to have to strike gold. Surely.
Yeah. I would
because
say...
you can be indie developer, you know, whoever you want. Yeah. Number 3.
I mean,
you can make the most brilliant, incredible...
Indie game
ever with a female character. You'll be like, oh, great. And real gamers will be like, oh, well, this is brilliant, and I've bought this, and this is good. But it's never going to impact me, it's never going to...
Well, it very well might do, though. This is what I'm saying, Minecraft it's a good example, because that is the example of some random indie game that became literally the biggest game in the world, the most best-selling game ever. And, like, I mean, you've just brought up the subject of profit, which is a good point. Like, it's not going to be profitable to make a game that centres around a female lead, so maybe the onus is not on businesses like EA, for example, but on small indie developers who maybe people listen to this podcast who have an artistic flair and want to make a difference and feel like it's their thing to do. Because, I mean, the game changers in any art have never, ever been business people. It's always been artists.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, when I make the distinction of business, maybe business people isn't the right word to use, but let's make the distinction that, again, this lacks nuance, but let's say that all...
It's one of my least favourite things. Yeah, no, carry on.
Let's say that all contributors to a given medium can fall under 2 categories. They can either be the pure artist or the lucrative artist, the person who wants to make money. So you've got, like, Katy Perry versus, like, I don't know, some small-time bluesy jazz musician, whatever. Or you've got, like, J.K. Rowling versus, like, James Joyce or whatever.
Yeah.
It's never... Well, J.K. Rowling's not a good example to use. Someone who... 50 Shades of Grey, which was something that was written because it was a lucrative thing to write. It's never the people who write things because they're lucrative. They're never the people who make the difference. The people who make a difference are always the people who do it for the art, who do it for passion, who do it because they're inspired to do it.
Yeah.
And businesses are inspired to make money, whereas artists are inspired simply by artists to do something that isn't really, you can't really put it into words, it's just
they're inspired to inspire.
Action. Yeah, whatever. I mean, whenever you talk about this, you're going to delve into being pretentious pretty quickly, so it's difficult to talk about. But I've talked before on podcasts about my ideas of art and how I think that it's inspiration. It's almost like you can almost think of it, in my opinion, as like art is like people being inspired by something to. I said we did a TFC on art ages ago, like when we used to do TFC podcast. Still on iTunes, I guess. Episode whatever, art
17.
I think we only did 12 or 13 episodes.
Might have been 7. No, Karen, yeah.
But I said then that art is conversational, which is obviously a pretentious thing to say, but what I mean is that a person puts something out and then somebody else sees it and it affects them to such a point that they just feel compelled to respond. And those people who feel compelled, who are driven by passion or driven by artistic drive or whatever, those people are the people who are going to make a difference. And those people are indie developers when it comes to games. Those people are not EA or... I keep going to EA, but like, you know, the big game developers.
Like EA.
Yeah, they're not people with lawyers and businesses and people who know what they're doing. They're just indie developers who really enjoy making games. And I think we need to stumble upon the right recipe of person who happens to be someone who's interested in programming, someone who's interested in probably story, visual design, and who is female, and who recognises that this is something that not only needs doing, but that something that they want to do.
Yeah.
Is to create a game with a strong female lead, and that might, break the. That might open the floodgates.
But so is there no desire for this? What's the...
Well, I mean, like I was saying, it's a very... there are a lot of criteria that need filling there, so it's a rarity to happen upon that person who is right to make that game. Like most people who want to make games now just want to make the games that they want to make, which probably isn't going to be the female hero's journey or whatever it is.
But surely there are more females interested in gaming than ever before. And so surely, despite all this, the gaming community, should remain optimistic.
Yeah,
because in everything, in every genre, industry, category, whatever you want to call it, there are terrible people, and there are terrible people who'll say terrible things and question everything about your character, etc., whatever. But in a case like this, you're much less likely to hear support because she, at the end of the day, has done wrong. And so if the only response she got was, you shouldn't have done that, lost a bit of respect for you, that is bad. We wouldn't be having this conversation, but it's because people said terrible things to her on the internet.
Well, people have used that as an excuse to just talk about all the shit that they wanted to talk about, which is that females aren't worth talking about in video games.
But then, is it better to have this conversation and have these people air their grievances or beliefs, and then, I don't know if it's the majority or the minority, but them to come out and go, what are you talking about? This isn't 1989, I'm not playing Asteroids anymore.
Yeah, it probably is better that this has happened.
Do we have does progression need moments like this to happen?
Yes, I think so, definitely.
Exactly. You need your sort of Rosa Parks. You need a sort of somebody.
Things need to come to a head.
Example. You need
it's
to
like
blow
we were
up
talking
a little
about
bit.
Yesterday's episode. We were talking about the fappening. It's like something needs to come to a head.
That either eyes are drawn to it and people go, well, this needs to change, or this needs to change, or they go, oh, we're quite happy the way it is, and then you carry on down the road and people become disheartened and run away.
Yeah.
And then eventually, hopefully, it'll change again, or it just dies out.
Yeah.
Because you have to evolve or perish, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so you can keep your little boys club going for a little while. But if that was the case, then would still be playing all the shitty stereotype games of the past.
I mean, this is the beginning of the end just for that little boys club, just by virtue of the fact that it's now on people's radar. So now, whenever something happens in the world of gaming that seems misogynistic, people can look at this precedent and think, oh, well, this is a thing. Like, it's no longer just this ethereal concept that exists in the ether or whatever. It's now something that's got a hashtag, you know?
Yeah.
So it's now something that people can... people have a concrete idea of it, and, you know...
Just on a purely personal level, this would have completely bypassed me if not for this conversation.
Yeah.
So, my opinion of it is it's utter madness, really.
Yeah.
That you play that game like you can... Like I was saying, you can call people out on their actions, that's fine, I don't care about that. You can even slut shame, whatever, fat shame, that's all great. But when it's gender, it's race, it's you stepping boundaries that aren't even boundaries, really. It shouldn't be a
topic. But it is, though. You're right, you're completely right that this shouldn't be...
Yeah, but I'm saying when you do step that boundary, then you're making yourself look an idiot.
Yeah, that's
It's
true,
up for debate. I can say, I think slut-shaming works to a certain extent, and people can say, well, I think it doesn't work at all. And it's up for debate. It's a conversation.
Yeah. I don't think whether it works is even the issue.
Okay, whether it's acceptable, whatever, but the question is, you know, being a woman worse than being a man? No. Is being black better than being white? No. You know, it doesn't. None of it. That's not really up for debate anymore. They're sort of things that aren't. You can't question these things.
No, I think you can talk about whether it's worse to be a woman than it is to be a man. I think it's probably.
Yeah, no, I didn't say worse. I said. You know, whatever. Does it matter? It does to me. Like, it doesn't matter, and I feel to the majority.
Well, would it matter to you if you're a woman, though?
No.
What if you were getting paid less than a colleague who did the same job, for example, like one of those classic examples?
Well, I hope something changes, but...
Yeah, that's just
what's a woman to do?
That's just like...
If you do the same job, you should be paid equal. That's my opinion anyway. That's my opinion now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to campaign for it because it doesn't affect me in any way. And is that selfish? Yes, undoubtedly. But I don't care.
No, yeah,
I'm not going to take to the
what you're
streets
saying.
and say, we should all be paid equally.
Yeah.
But I don't think we should be paid equally across the board. Because there are some jobs men do better than women. There are some jobs men work harder for. There are some jobs women do better than men.
Midwifery.
Yeah, you know, midwifery. Anything that involves, you know, working like in depth with women, you want... In the same way men need other men. That's just society. That's how society works. And you need to surround yourself with... People who understand.
Again, it's one of those things that's just in my mind now. I keep recognising like lack of nuance, and this is one of those areas where that exists, where people, the idea of feminism and equal rights for women or equal rights for all genders or whatever, it devolves into this conversation of equality, which is shorthand for equal rights, but a lot of people don't realise that. A lot of people think that it means just blanket equality, so you should treat your female friends like you treat your male friends, and you shouldn't. I mean,
exactly.
Women and men are different in very fundamental ways, and you can't ignore that fact. It's the same way that people of different age groups are different in fundamental ways. People of different nationalities are different in fundamental ways. People of different cultures are different in fundamental ways.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. You should respect humanity and accommodate that. Like, I mean, respect is the key word. You should have complete respect for those differences, and you should do so with as much grace as you can. But when it comes to the law, women should have rights that are equal to the rights of men.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a case in which that differs, but I don't think there really is.
Well, if there is, it'd be something where it's beneficial to women and men.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of net benefit, women should have it as good as men.
You want the benefit to be completely equal. That's where you want equality.
Exactly, yeah.
In that both are completely benefited in exactly the same manner.
Everyone's as happy as possible.
Yeah.
That's like what you're after. And I don't think there's many people at all in our generation who disagree with that. But this idea is that gamers do.
And we're much closer than we have been possibly ever.
Yeah.
Within societies, and
yeah, maybe. But I mean,
that's a huge debate.
Like I was
throwing that blanket statement out there that might require some research, but
I mean, I don't know. It's weird. It's like we're in a culture right now that is so full of the dregs of past cultures because we have history. Like there are other cultures that have existed in the past that didn't really care about history, that didn't necessarily have a concept of history, didn't have a concept of time. Whereas we're working with so many different sets of culture or leftovers of other cultures or sets of rules or whatever it is that come from like thousands of years ago. Like we're dealing with the ideology is the word I should be using. We're dealing with the ideology of a bit of Christianity, diluted down, a bit of Abrahamic ideology, a bit of earlier mythic ideologies we've got, but we've also got the ideologies of like the 40s and the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, like drifting down to us. If you go to some Amazonian culture or whatever, they don't know what their great granddad thought or believed, and it might have been really different from what they thought and believed.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why our society is so. I mean, it's almost a really exciting time to be alive because we're in this position now where there's more permanence than there ever has been. We're like living on magnetic tape now where you can just see the past really clearly. And so we're
leaving it all behind. Yeah,
and so we're trying to reconcile whatever's happening at the moment with ideologies that are probably quite out of date.
Outdated.
And I think maybe that's something that we need to recognise and we need to standardise. I mean, this is maybe a really extreme thing to say, but we need to come up with a way to standardise the mourning of old ideologies. Like, we need to collectively say, okay, well...
appreciate and move on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I don't know, this is a really deep conversation now that it probably shouldn't be, but, like, we don't have ritual in our culture anymore, and there are those who argue that ritual is a really important thing to just being human, and it would be great if we had some sort of ritual regarding ideologies, because we're so confused as a culture when it comes to our ideology. Like, there's sort of an ideology that we have that's particular to us and our generation, but we're also working off the back of all these old ideologies, like I was just saying, and it'd be cool if we had some sort of ritualistic way to deal with that, to reconcile that in some way, to get rid of the old and keep the new.
Acknowledge it, but
I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, I'm not offering a solution. I'm just a small guy trying to make my way in this big bad world. I don't know what the answer is. I'm just saying that maybe there's a problem there that needs looking at.
And you're saying this on the grander scale of Gamergate. And the fact that...
I guess so.
that is a problem that needs changing.
Yeah. This is what one glass of that Fire Eater whiskey does.
Burns your insides and your mind.
Yeah.
So what's been the response to this at all? Where's well,
we're in the middle of it. I mean, this is it.
Or is it still burning bright?
I guess so. I would have, if you want me to... Are you asking me... What are you saying? You're saying, Phil, predict the future. Okay, I'll try. I mean, I think that at some point, the idea of the gamer is going to have to evolve in some way as a response, as a direct response to not only this, like Gamergate, but also just this shift in culture where people are becoming more and more aware that it's like, I'll liken it to you, to give you an example that you're going to be more familiar with, football hooliganism.
Oh, hello, sport.
Exactly.
Sit up, yeah.
You have this subculture, which is football fans, and you have the unfortunate fact that there is something rotten about the subculture, or there are people who are rotten within the subculture.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you have to... Just the very fact of acknowledging that leads to people wanting to deal with it. So people will want to deal with it, and then...
You have to acknowledge it within the sort of realms of sport. I feel I can pipe in here.
Yeah, yeah.
Within the realms of football, and hooliganism and racism and chanting is... Within football, you get the idea of anonymity, but in person, whereas you get anonymity with the internet. But you get anonymity in person because there's 40,000, there's 50, there's 100,000 of you. No one's going to spot who you are. That's slightly changed now with cameras, etc. But you have to acknowledge it and acknowledge that it is a part of it, but the entire sport and the entire 99.9% not only think it's a bad thing, but actively want to remove it.
It's the active thing that I'm interested in, like because we're at such an early stage here with gamers.
I can go to a football game and people can chant things about disasters and players' race and their wives and whatever you want to do. If I just go, that's bad. Don't you think that's bad? Yeah, that's bad. Then, that's what people think. Everyone thinks these things are bad, really. A lot of the people doing it think it's bad, and that's why they do it, to elicit reaction.
Trolls.
It's trolling in real life. But when you put a sort of, whether it's a movement or a desire to say, not only is this wrong and we're against it, but we don't want you to represent us.
Yeah.
We don't want that to be... This, football hooliganism was a big one, and it's sort of chanting about disasters and race and, whatever it is.
It's been mitigated slightly.
And so while the football hooligans are gone, a lot of them, maybe, I don't know if it's them or other people, they've evolved to fill in that new void of sort of bad person.
Which is now chanters and...
Yeah, and you just have to, move these people, move them on, basically. It's like, your time's come and gone now.
Let's, sticking with this analogy, what would be your recommendation to the broader culture of people who like to play games? What would be your recommendation to those people? How do they deal with the, quote, football hooligans of the gaming community, which is these misogynist gamers or whatever? Like, how was football hooliganism dealt with? I don't have much of a knowledge of that.
Most of it was before our time, really. But it's it's security. It's take them out, you get banned. It's whatever. That's because people are actively going to a place. I'm not saying you're not allowed on the internet, but you have to voice an opinion as a front that this is wrong. Because if you support X and I support Y, and I say, X hooligans are bad, that's because I'm a Y.
Yeah.
X. Your team, your group, gamers in this position have to voice the opinion that this belief, this action, this whatever it is wrong to the opinion of gamers. You can sit there and think you're completely in the right. The football hooligans, you watch all these things. Football hooligans, some of them enjoy it and they're friends with other people and they just go and like fighting and causing trouble. But if you're going to be a part of the community, you have to realise it's wrong and either stop it or leave.
It's like I was saying on the episode from yesterday, which is about the celebrity photo leak or the fapping or whatever. I was saying how, right or wrong, shame is this social tool that serves a social function. And that's sort of...
That's a very good example, is the fact that you point out that not only is this an opinion of one or two or the very people they're shouting against. If you're a gamer and you're saying all women are terrible, and the responses you're getting are all women saying, no, we're not terrible. Actually, we're very nice and we like to be part of... that's never going to change your mind.
It needs to be their peers telling them, listen, this isn't acceptable. It needs to be people they respect.
Throughout history... And the KKK aren't listening to a black person saying, your opinions are crazy.
They're listening to other white people.
They're listening to other white people saying,
don't do that, that's not acceptable.
Times are changing now, come on.
Yeah. Dylan.
Yeah.
I think, who...
The times they are changing. And
that's
so,
how he phrased it.
As a community, you have to say, this is how a lot of the old guard and a lot of people perceived us, and that needs to change if we want to evolve. And one of the big blocks that are stopping us from that mass media evolution is this kind of attitude.
Yeah.
And either we have to all say this is ridiculous or we don't go any further from here.
Yeah. And there's no way that gaming can't go further from here because there are so many people who... I mean, it's an art form now, it can't be stopped.
Oh, it's huge, it's absolutely huge. And so, it's not saying we either stop here, it's saying we're going, if you want to come... Well, you've got to accept that this is changing, and this is changing.
Yeah, that's a very good way of putting it. Like, it's almost like, listen, the train is on its way, and gamers, quote,
you've
aren't
not
allowed.
got your ticket yet.
Exactly, yeah. Good analogy all round for both of us. High five.
Elbows.
Right on the metaphor work there. That was Gamergate, I think.
That was Gamergate.
Yeah.
I'm pleased that I got involved with that. I'm probably now just going to pop off and download Depression Quest. Because I've been pretty pumped about getting this game for a long time. One of my fave indie developers, actually.
Zoe Quinn,
yeah.
Next to Phil Fish.
Yeah, she's a bit of a shrug, but no, I joke. I kid.
I've heard good things about Depression Quest. But it's
free?
I don't know. But it's always prefaced with, yes, I know this is pretentious and ridiculous. It's always like, oh, Depression Quest, while ridiculous, is actually really good. So I don't know.
I'm going to Google it.
I'm going to have a wee.
An interactive non-fiction game. Oh,
do you want to be baffled about that while I go have a pee? I'm
going to play for free.
Can you really?
Well, you can pay what you want or pay for free.
Play for free then.
Play for free, please.
I'm going to have a wee.
You know, and I think the meaning behind this game is very important and very serious, but that's not very funny, so I'm going to joke about it. Because bring everything down to the level of humour, and it's all fine. Depression Quest is a game that deals with living with depression in a very literal way. Right, don't care. Begin. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's early on a Monday morning. You're a mid-20s human being. See? It's already so pretentious, doesn't give you a gender. Fuck it. Fuck this shit. No one's going to be angry at you if you say male or female. Pick a side. Transgender community. Pick one. It doesn't matter. It's just a game. It's just a game. I'm not judging you in real life. Just pick one. It's a game. Oh. You have a significant other named Alex who you're rather fond of. The rest of your social circle consists of a variety of friends. You're also dealing with motivation issues. You spend a lot of nights fixating on this, thinking about this, but never seem to do anything about it other than lose sleep. This noise is terrible. Turn this off. It's an unseasonably warm Wednesday evening. You spent the past several hours at work. The past week or so you found your job motivation flagging more than usual. That just sounds like life. As you walk home, the streets hiss from the recent rainfall. Sounds like England. As soon as you think about work that awaits you at home, you can feel the panic creeping in. All you can think about is how incredibly far behind you are. By the time you arrive home and change out of your uncomfortable work clothes, the stress is weighing you down like a heavy, wet woolen blanket. Oh, do you reluctantly sit down at your desk and try to make yourself do some work, turn on the TV, crawl into bed? I'll probably go for turn on the TV. Oh, little Netflix page there. I feel like this could be quite depressing. Do you know what I'm going to do here? Is I'm going to stop playing a game that tells me how it is to live with depression, because I imagine living with depression is terrible. And you know what's not terrible? Smoking a cigarette. Smoking a cigarette is the best thing you can do. So, 2 pages in, I'm quitting. I've just quit Depression Quest.
Oh no, really? Did you actually play it?
It's like a choice game, like a pick and answer what you'd do.
Yeah.
And so work was shit, and so it's like, how would you deal with it? I threw on the TV. Right. I mean, you can carry on playing if you like.
Oh yeah, I will do. Can I start a new game?
Yeah. I've literally not done anything.
Oh no, there's a huge
wall
description of... I don't feel like this podcasts well, this game. Probably not gonna...
I played one of these the other day about feminism.
Right.
And about... Like, oh, yeah, just smashed my laptop. Yeah, it's fine. No, it's cool.
I smashed my laptop as well.
Oh, no. And it was about, like, going to a club and meeting a guy, and I was just like, oh, this is just dreadful. This made me very unhappy.
A lot of these things tend to be more just...
It's not a game, I don't think. Maybe that's me. Maybe that's a non-gamer attitude.
It's preachy. It's just...
But if a game's not fun, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And that's any game. I don't...
Like, Depression Quest could be an amazing actual game with, like, amazing mechanics, amazing art, all of this amazing shit, and still give the same effect, and it'd be much more impactful than just... It's almost like the difference between inventing something and saying, "I've got an idea for a great invention. What about straws with weights on the end?" Like, yeah, that's not good enough if you haven't actually made it. And it's almost like that's what some of these sorts of games are. Like, I don't know about Depression Quest because I've not played it, but a lot of these games tend to be wearing their concept on their sleeve without really doing anything about it. More conceptual than anything.
I feel like you're not helping yourself with something like this. You're saying depression's really terrible, and it's sort of well known that it's terrible.
Yeah.
But you're just making me feel terrible playing it, and I'm not involved. I'm not interested.
But that's the point. You're supposed to empathise with.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
And why would you want to? If you want to understand, but you're ever going to fully understand? Because it's just a game. And as much as you can say, well, games are art and films are art and TVs are art, and you can empathise and you can be the character, and you can be whatever your mind says you are, you're not. You're not. You can think you are, but you're not.
Yeah, but don't you want to at least be able to sort of understand people who have depression on a deeper level than just, oh, you must be quite sad?
Maybe if it impacted me in any way.
But it impacts them in some way. That's the
selfish,
point.
But if it impacts me, then yeah, of course I'm interested and I want to know, and I want to know how I can be of assistance.
Yeah.
If you're just like, I'm massively depressed now, I'm like, oh,
fuck off. Go home.
I would be like, sort yourself out. But then if you're like, well, yeah,
but that would be, I imagine,
really am, then of course I would take some interest in being like, well, what's that like?
Yeah.
Because when you don't understand it, and this is something I've sort of read into a little bit since the whole Robin Williams thing.
Yeah.
Everybody go through a stage of just feeling a bit shitty. I feel shitty all the time. I used to have about a day a week where I just be like, this is just a complete waste of my time. None of this is worth anything.
Yeah.
And I just sort of mope about. And you go, I'm not depressed, but
it's not.
But you know, that's sort of how I feel, and that's shitty. So imagine that worse. And so you do want to empathise, but
it's not that though. I don't think. I mean, I don't suffer from depression, but I don't think it's the same thing. I don't think it's even that, but a worse version.
No, it's not, and it's something you can't. I don't think you can comprehend until you're there.
Yeah.
But you can try and vaguely empathise as much as you can do. But what you can't. I can't empathise with somebody who has cancer.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't have cancer.
Maybe it's less of an empathising thing, more of a just basically understanding the fundamentals of what it is, maybe dispelling some misconceptions.
And that's where I think the real issue lies.
Yeah.
Is that we don't need to emphasise to know how bad something is. I'm not saying, well, I understand what cancer is.
Yeah.
And so I understand how you feel. I don't, because I don't have it. My body's great. Yours isn't.
Spick and span.
Whereas I'm not saying, oh, you have depression. Well, I understand how depression works. So don't worry, I know how you feel.
Yeah,
that's not how it works.
I see what you're saying.
That's not what I'm playing. But if I understand how it works and how it affects somebody, in the same way that I can go, oh well, your pancreas is gone, then is it? And you're on chemo. That's dreadful. That's awful. What are they doing to help you with that?
Yeah.
I can say, oh, well, you're really depressed.
Yeah.
How's that going for you? And it's that's a basic layman's shitty, almost joking way of dealing with it, but
yeah,
people don't have that now. And that's the thing with depression, because it is so mental, and it is so. Robin Williams is a prime example. He had his demons, he had his ups and downs, and everybody saw that. But outwardly, he's Robin fucking Williams.
Yeah.
But inside, he was dying.
He was hurting.
He was hurting. He was crying.
Hurting. He was an upset dude.
Because of this shit new TV programme.
I don't think so.
No, but I'm saying that's what a lot of people said, and it was shit.
Yeah. But then there was that... Do you remember... You listened to that Joe Rogan with Stephen Molyneux, where he was like, it's because of women.
He brought up...
What the fuck are you talking about?
The one with Dom Herrera.
Yeah.
And they were talking about, like, 2 or 3 people that they'd heard, like, comedians that had, killed themselves or got ill or whatever, and it had really impacted them. And he was saying a guy out on the podcast that I've not listened to yet, Sam Harris or Sam.
Yeah.
He was talking about surgery and how like impactful that is.
Post-surgery depression.
Which is interesting. Having had 9 surgeries, that's quite interesting.
You've had 9 surgeries?
9 surgeries.
Can you list all of them?
2 ankle, 2 knee, a rib, 2 hernia. What's that, 7?
What's a... No.
There's 7. What's the other 2?
Don't know. Ball.
Yeah, ball.
Ball. Each ball.
But it's not, not bad surgery. I'm dying or anything.
I've had no surgery. I've had a toenail removed. Does that count as surgery? What's the name for that? Like, surgery that isn't really surgery. There's a name, isn't there?
I'm not sure.
And I've had my lips stitched together.
Stitched together? Oh, like when it's split.
My lip was split, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's about it, really.
And my eyebrow split once.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why you got two of them instead of just one big one.
Hello. But no, wait, it's not like bad traumatic surgery. It's like injury surgery. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Guy by a car, remember that?
Yeah,
surgery there.
I do remember that.
My rib.
That was crazy.
You can feel it.
I won't be doing
where
that,
it is.
thanks.
Yeah, but you know like how your rib cage has things.
Ribs, they're called.
No, like the actual cage has like strands of bone.
Oh right, yeah.
One of them was like cut out.
Wait, what do you mean by strands of like on the sides?
The rib cage itself, the cage of the rib that's made of bone.
Yeah.
Is strands of...
Yeah, ribs.
No, but the bone itself within the rib.
Oh, on the sternum.
Like you have within a body, your ribs are almost inside the cage, and they represent the ribs and where they are.
So what is a rib then? I thought the rib was that bone.
Yeah, the flesh is attached to the bone on the other side.
Right.
Like on an animal, when you have a rib,
you
suck all the meat off the bone.
Yeah.
But you have your ribs that are sort of attached. But one of them was like bruised or collapsed or something. Like, just fucked up from a car. And they just needed to get to it to have a little fiddle.
Right.
So they couldn't get, so they just had to chop a bit of the rib, the bony bit off.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I was thinking the other day about how, there's the whole Adam and Eve story about how Eve was made from one of Adam's ribs.
Yeah.
And people will say, oh, that story comes from the fact that men have one fewer ribs than women. And I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. But then I found out, not even last year, a few months ago, that that's not true. Men and women have the same amount of ribs. Which I didn't know. My entire life I've gone thinking, okay, fine, whatever.
I've never thought about it.
Like, people have always said it as one of those little factoids. Like,
I always assume men and women have the same amount. Have I? I don't know.
I doubt you've thought about it.
Yeah.
If this hasn't come up, I doubt you've considered it. It's quite a strange thing to think about, I suppose, really.
I'm liking this off air, but actually on air.
I'm going with the mental state of like, oh, this is all going to be deleted.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I can't relax. Or I can, but it's not as much of a thing. I
just need to remember not to say too much libelous, terrible things about people I know or about myself.
Yeah.
For all the super fans listening that would bump into me in the street, like, show me your rib.
Oh, fuck. Should have talked about the fucking rib.
Sorry.
And the bone bits on the rib. Yeah.
No, it's good though, I like this. I do like the format.
It's a good format, isn't it?
Yeah.
For those listeners who are super fans and who are interested, I came up with this format earlier on while I was having shit. Literally earlier on today I was having a poo. Probably the last poo I did, all things considered.
The last poo?
I would have thought so.
I haven't had one today.
You've not had one? Go and have one. Treat yourself.
I didn't eat until very recently.
What did you have?
I had pork chop at 9 o'clock.
Just pork chop on its own?
No.
A 9 o'clock
Carrots,
chop?
broccoli, roast potatoes, gravy. Traditional sort of Sunday roast.
I had one of those ragu pasta and sauce.
Nice.
Pre-made things.
And then I had a chocolate raspberry cheesecake pudding. It's so rich though.
Ooh, yeah.
It was a little bit...
I had an iced tea earlier on.
What flavour?
Lemon. I went for a walk. I like going for my walks. And I had a Lipton iced tea. Really nice.
I do like iced tea.
Yeah. We're sponsored by Lipton.
I'm a big proponent of iced tea.
I know you are, yeah.
Like it, but I'm a big fan.
When we were in college, you used to...
Drink 2 litres a day.
Yeah, which was fucking crazy. Really.
The amount of sugar really is awful.
If you look at the ingredients on those iced tea things, it says like black tea 0.2%.
Sugar.
Lemon 0.017%. Sugar, all.
It's because I used to pop to Lidl.
Yeah.
2 litres for 99p.
I've still got a picture of you on my laptop. I'll try and find it now. Of you, way back when, next to the big pile of iced teas in Lidl, sort of kissing them weirdly.
That was my profile picture for a while.
Was it?
On Facebook.
I'm not going to look through my pictures now, because there might be nefarious pictures in there. dick pics, basically.
Should we get back on the game? Not prostitution.
Are we ready? Is there anything that needs sorting out? Shall we get some more water?
Do you want me to go and grab another bit of
I
water?
can grab some if you want.
Oh, I'll go and urinate while I'm there.
Oh yeah, okay.
You should do another monologue.
I'll talk about something. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go on Reddit and talk about the first thing that I see on Reddit.
Beautiful.
Reddit.com. 61% fall in female genital warts due to free HPV vaccine. Well, that's a victory, isn't it? That's always good to hear. What I'm going to do there is I'm going to read the headline and not click on it and not actually read the article. Today I learned the original Ghostbusters trailer featured a 1-800 number, not a 555 number, which led to a pre-recording of Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd. They got 1,000 calls per hour, 24 hours a day, for 6 weeks. Crazy. That wouldn't happen these days. These days, that sort of availability for celebrities already exists with like Twitter and shit like that. Oh God, a 49-minute video here saying evidence of corruption in the Reddit admin staff. Something's going to happen with Reddit in the next few days. I imagine that on next week's TLDR, one of the things we might talk about maybe will be the fall of Reddit. I don't know, something's happening with Reddit. Like they deleted the fappening subreddit, and nobody was having it. Everyone was like, "Oh, this is bullshit. You're fascists." And then they released a sort of press release saying, "We're not fascists." And then people commented on it saying, "You are fascist though." And now apparently someone's released a fucking hour-long documentary about or is it a documentary? The title of the YouTube video says Reddit recording. I might just play it. Hello there, Matt. I've stumbled upon something on Reddit. Evidence of corruption in the Reddit admin staff. Me and the kids were just talking about this. Mm-hmm. I was thinking that maybe next week it might come to the point where one of the things we talk about on TLDR is the fall of Reddit.
Ooh.
Because shit's going down on Reddit.
Yeah, it's...
Have you paid attention to any of this?
I've not, but I see it every now and again. I'm just like, okay, that's not good.
Well, they deleted the fappening, that subreddit, and people really unhappy about it and saying that this is corruption and so on. And
well, they do this every time.
Yeah.
Every time Reddit decides that this shouldn't be on Reddit, people say,
like,
well, Reddit is all about free speech.
Yeah.
But
it happened with that guy way back when, with the whole Gork of Violent Acres, whatever it was.
But should we allow, sort of death and...
pics of dead kids and all that, yeah.
I feel probably not. I had a thought while I was urinating.
Having a was, yeah.
Was
it a stander or a sitter?
I stood.
I stood before as well, I regretted it afterwards.
You know how I've, over the past few eps of TLDR, been retweeting things about what we talk about?
Yeah.
Maybe after the segment, I sort of have a browse and just sort of
there's an idea.
Chat about a few, read a few out, and then just retweet them.
Do you know what? That'll be a good way to end each segment, because I feel like there's no end point. One of the flaws I see immediately with this format. Do you want one of these antacid tablets, by the way?
Yes, please.
I don't know why I thought you might want one, but you do. One of the flaws that I'm seeing immediately is that we're free to just waffle on about something that needs 15 minutes of discussion for like 7 hours. So that'd be a good way of... Because it'd be really ham-fisted and shitty to just say, well, we're finished talking about this now. End discussion. So a good way to do that would be to end each segment sort of traditionally or like systematically or whatever you want to call it.
Because
with
also
Twitter.
With the tweeting,
I have two of those.
I've been doing it while the episode's going on.
Yeah.
But often I'm trying to fix my attention in two places at once.
Yeah.
So if I just leave it until after we've spoken about it, then we can bring it up and be like, well,
That's a great idea.
Gamergate started as, and always had been, about silencing SJWs, don't know what that is.
Social justice warrior, or something justice warrior.
People who work for equality and representation, period. Give that a retweet. If If you operate in an unchecked environment for many years, what you perceive to be as normal may not be to everybody else. #GameGame.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But I'll probably start this next episode now because we've done a lot of it.
Yeah, we'll do it. By the next episode, you mean the next segment or what? Do it on the next segment.
Yeah, I'll do it on the next segment.
Yeah.
And then it'll be a good way, as and when we do a release party, we can just at these people.
I like how release parties become the standard term now. From like a joke and a text to you.
And just be like, you've made it on TLDR, the Internet Digest. Congratulations, Devin CF, Faye Cleesby, and Mundane Matt.
We'll do it for the next
segment,
which I'll go on to now.
Philip.
Yeah, Matt, what is it?
I'm excited for the new daily ep of TLDR.
It's out now, actually. Yeah,
it's out right now.
Not only am I excited, I'm living it.
I am on it.
You know what it's about, don't you?
I do.
I mean, just from the YouTube title or the iTunes title or however you're listening to this.
I've got it on Stitcher.
What's it about?
So I can just listen on the go. Sorry, what did you say? Please do tell me what it's about.
No, I was just asking you, what is this segment that we're doing now? What is this about?
It's pretty light, so...
Yeah, you could say that.
So, I mean, I don't want to take all the glory for myself. I'd like you to inform the listeners so that I don't have to.
You take a wild guess. I want to see how wrong you are.
Is it about...
It's about a part... Right, a part of the body.
Yeah, kneecaps.
Yes! Well done.
Yeah.
Go on.
Elbows.
Have you heard of this knee defender thing?
No.
This is weirdly blown up, and maybe it shouldn't have... Right, I'm not going to play catch because that's noisy. No.
Yeah, put it down.
This is weirdly blown up on the internet over the past week or 2 weeks. Where to start? Right. So years ago, some company came out with these things called knee defenders. Mm. And it's this little plastic device, and you take it with you on an airplane, and you attach it to the back of the seat in front of you. Yeah. And it prevents the person in that seat from reclining. Oh, and they don't know that it's there. They just think, the seat's broken. But they can't... unless they've heard of knee defenders now, which they have because they listen to TLDR. But they can't recline... And it's because people are like, I deserve knee room and whatever.
Sounds a bit illegal.
Airliners now, because of the things that I'm about to talk about, have a few airliners, I think, have come out and said we won't allow them. But over the past few weeks, there have been various... let me just get this up on my browser. Where is it? There have been various flights that have been diverted because of...
Diverted?
Reclining seats, yeah. Like, I've got one here. Another flight was diverted after passengers fought over a reclining seat. This is on the Washington Post. This was a Delta Airlines flight from New York to Florida. So here's a quote from some passenger. This woman sitting next to me, knitting, that's important, I suppose, tried reclining her seat back. The woman behind her started screaming and swearing. The flight attendant came over and that exacerbated what was going on. And then the angry passenger, the person behind them, basically said something to the effect of, I don't care about the consequences, put this plane down now. And they landed the plane because the pilot used the phrase abundance of caution. So I suppose when someone says land the plane, you do it in case they might be a terrorist. This
is a prime example of people needing to shut the fuck up.
Who needs to shut the fuck up? The person who wants to recline or the person who doesn't want to be reclined upon?
The person who doesn't want to be reclined upon. Chairs on planes only go back a certain point.
Yeah.
To a certain point. And it might get a little bit cramped. But 99 times out of 100, if you say, could you just move it up a little bit? I'm really tucked in here.
Yeah.
They genuinely won't mind. If they're, tall or old or lazy, they might grumble a little bit. But the vast majority of people will be like, okay, fine.
This is the thing.
Regardless of how moody they are about it, they'll probably do it.
Yeah, don't use a little fucking weird passive-aggressive device to stop people from reclining. Just ask. Also, just say, can you not recline, please, or whatever.
You're on a plane. You're flying in the sky.
Yeah.
All over the world.
Yeah.
If that's not great enough for you, and you have to be in complete and utter comfort at all times, either pay a little bit more, get a seat with legroom, or be in business class, or say, well, I can't afford it, I don't want to pay for it. Prioritise. I'm not the tallest guy in the world, but there's always enough leg room.
Yeah.
It's like being on a bus, really. You don't have all the leg room in the world, but there's enough. You just sit there for a couple of hours and then get off. It's not a difficult system.
It's a good point that, yeah, you're forgetting that you're flying. That's a huge luxury. Like, I imagine most people don't think of it like that. They just think of it as a form of public transport, the same way most people think of cars. But I've never flown. I've never been on a plane. And so probably the first time I fly, I'll probably be like, oh my God, we're in the air. You could put so many dicks in my mouth before I give a shit. You could beat me over the head with a big black dick.
Big black dick, BB.
And I won't care. I'll be like, oh, we're in the fucking air.
Little things are amazing on planes. Like, having that little inch of legroom is great. Having sometimes you get TVs in the back of the chair, and you can just put Friends on, and you're at 40,000 feet in the air.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. And people complain a lot about legroom on cheap airliners. I flew Ryanair this week. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much the flights were because I didn't pay for them, but whenever I've flown, I keep it under about £75 to £100 return.
Yeah.
To fly in the sky to another country.
Yeah.
I've got flights for like 17, 18 quid.
Yeah. You're good at that.
I'm flying for less than 20 quid.
Yeah.
That's not even 4 pints in some places. I don't give a shit enough. And if you are, you surely have to think, I'm flying to another country, something that was completely impossible, maybe even in my grandparents' generation, for £20.
Anyway. Yeah, for £20.
You can buy a DVD and they've gone down in price. Okay, a game.
DVD. Are you from 2002, Matt?
We were talking about games yesterday's Epi.
Yeah,
talking about Gamergate.
Yeah.
Games come out like 50 fucking quid.
Yeah. Sims 4, 60 quid.
I can buy a return flight
GBP
for 60 quid.
I'm going to find out how much the Sims 4 is in US dollars.
And that's my mindset. I know I'm not a gamer and I seek different pleasures in different things, but I'm flying to a completely different place that 100 years ago I could have never visited for 20 pissing quid. I don't care. I don't care if I can't take a drink on. I don't care if I've got a fat person next to me. I don't care if I've not got as much legroom as I'd like.
What about if you were someone who the plane just happens to be like, not necessarily your commute, that's probably a very small amount of people, but something you have to do on like a weekly basis?
Yeah, of course. Then it becomes part of your, routine. It becomes part of life, and it's not a luxury, and it's not for an enjoyable end. I think that's a big difference as well. When you're flying to somewhere new or somewhere amazing, or for something amazing, you're like, well, I'm going to do something incredible. I'm going, maybe not life changing, but I'm going to go and have an experience.
Yeah,
it's not, I'm just going across state to a meeting.
Yeah,
but there comes a point where you have to think, well, what would you rather do? Would you rather do this every week or have to drive 2 days there and 2 days back and only have 3 days with your family?
Yeah,
you can fly now. You can fly in the sky now.
You're complaining about the one very small con in this amazing thing. It is. You're right. It is. Even if it is a routine thing, it's still amazing compared even to just the alternative, which would be hours and hours and hours of driving. The
fact that it even is an option and it opens up so many other options to you. I could fly to France, Spain every day. It's only a couple of hours and fly back at night. If there was an amazing, incredible, well-paying job there and it was feasible for me to do, I'd consider it.
Yeah.
I could never have considered that even 30 years ago when flights were like a luxury that you went on like once a year maybe if you were vaguely rich and middle class.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And all the people that moan and complain and go, oh, the security, and I've got to go through the scan. I can only take 30 kilos of luggage for the week. Where the fuck are you going? I don't own 30 kilos of things.
I don't think I do.
What am I going to take? I can travel for weeks with like a backpack. What do you genuinely need to take?
But here's the thing, though. I am playing devil's advocate. I do agree with you, really. But the thing is, when it comes to, like, your argument there is that, this is amazing when you compare it to the
Other
alternative
options.
or whatever. But then that's always going to be a flawed argument in the sense that it's arbitrary what you compare it to. Like, because me and you sitting here is amazing compared to torture, but that doesn't mean that I'm not allowed to say, oh, my back aches or something like that. My back doesn't ache at the minute. I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah, but I'm not saying you can't complain about it. Of course you can. If you want to moan about it, then knock yourself out. Go wild.
Yeah. I'm playing devil's advocate because I think employing a knee defender is petty and ridiculous.
But I feel like if you would rather attach something to the chair in front of you just in case they might recline, you've sort of lost your mind a little bit there. Because I've been on, I don't know how many flights. I'm not a really frequent flyer. I'll probably fly about 6 times a year, 4, 5, 6 times a year. But has anybody ever reclined me? Maybe like once, but that was on like a 10-hour flight. Yeah. And it was like an inch. And they said, oh, do you mind if I just recline a little bit here? Knock yourself out, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter because they bring free nibbles around every hour, and this plane is free booze all the way. So I don't care enough. I don't know how many situations there are that people get on a plane, immediately crank the recline all the way back. Yeah. Do you care? Because I don't give a fuck. Yeah. How often does that happen?
Not often enough for there to be a device.
There are probably hundreds of flights from England every day.
Yeah.
How often does that happen? Very, very rarely. Yeah. And how often does it happen that if you say, oh, look, I'd prefer it if you just leaned up a little bit. I don't mind if you recline a little bit, but I just want a little bit of space.
Yeah.
That they're going to go, no.
Yeah, this whole...
How many times do they say no when you say, excuse me, flight attendant, he's reclined it all the way back, she's reclined it all the way back, and I genuinely can't move, and I'm worried about deep vein thrombosis. And they...
Who isn't?
And they say, come on, sir, can you put it up a little bit? And they might grumble and go, but that's it. You've still won. How often has this happened?
Yeah.
That someone reclines
like 4 times,
it,
I think.
And they go, ah!
Yeah.
Stop, land the plane immediately. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. It's like people who go, I don't think I will be ever able to fly after 9/11. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Once, yeah.
Well, planes, there are often 2 or 3 plane crashes a year. Well, there's fucking 300 flights out of this airport today.
Yeah.
It is statistically the safest method of travel.
Is that true?
Yeah, because there's a lot fewer than trains and cars and buses.
Yeah. There's less to crack into.
And you're in the fucking sky.
Yeah, there's nothing really going on up there.
So what are you talking about? Oh, I hate it.
I mean, yeah, the concept of the knee defender is this, like...
I would rather be a sly fucker than hope that it doesn't happen or talk to somebody and say, can you please not do this? I'd rather buy and purchase a device.
Really, really cynical and at once cynical and really irrational idea that this is something that's going to happen often enough for you to have to carry this fucking thing around. It's stupid.
Buy it and keep it with you.
Even
on
so,
all flights.
Sales have gone crazy. Apparently, people have bought this like crazy.
Well, that's because people are terrible.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Well, it is, isn't it? Because
I suppose so. But
people always talk
though?
about reclining chair. Oh, I hate those flights because they don't give you enough leg room, and you're always behind the one that reclines, aren't you? And then you get airplane food. Am I right? No,
you're not
really,
right.
no,
you're not.
You're sort of wrong because that very, very rarely happens.
Do you want some stats?
Yes.
This is a website called 538.com, spelled out.
Oh, that's a shit name for a website.
FIVETHIRTYEIGHT.com.
That spells 538.
Yep. They conducted a survey of like 1,000 or so people. The percentage of air passengers who think that certain actions are very rude. The percentage of people who think that bringing a baby on the plane is rude. What do you think it is?
90.
30% think that's rude.
Only 30. I'm surprised at that. But good, because it's not rude.
The percentage of people who think that asking to switch seats for a friend is rude.
Not many.
26%.
Yeah, 20 something. 26, I'll say.
How about knowingly bringing unruly children?
40 something, 50.
82% of people think that's rude. That's far and away, apparently, the rudest thing according to this poll that you can do.
To bring unruly... Well, what are you going to leave them at home?
Exactly, I mean, it's stupid. If you leave them at home, then fucking Joe Pesci and that other guy will just berate them and just give them a hard time.
Try and get in.
The least rude thing on this poll, asking to switch seats for a family member, which is only 17% of people think that that's rude. So reclining your seat. This is the big one. What do you think?
48.
41. This is the third most rude thing you can do. The second one is wake someone up to go for a walk. Which I don't really know what that means. As in, like moving, I want to move past you.
Like, if you have 3 seats and I'm asleep before you get to the aisle, it's like, get the fuck up.
I want to go for a walk.
I want to just go and stretch my legs. Yeah. But you're not often...
Why not just clamber over them?
I'm very rarely on flights where people need to go for a walk.
Well, what about if you have a pre-existing condition where, like, otherwise you'll get a blood clot, you'll die.
Well, that's completely fine.
Well, that's true. Yeah, this is one of those conversations.
You need to get by, otherwise
debate.
your leg might drop off because of a clot.
Oh, go on then.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
You know what? You can.
Well, actually, I'm watching Fast and Furious 7, so if you want,
you can fuck up.
You can have an earphone, but it's.
I'm pretty sure if you did have an earphone, we can riff on the film.
Flight's
but
one of
otherwise,
those
your
things.
leg could drop off.
Flight's one of those things where people sort of get tensed up and worried about everything, and they're like, "Oh well, everything's going to go wrong, and they're not going to have any drinks on the plane." Of course they are. What are you talking? And I'm going to sit next to the fat person. Well, we probably not.
It's weird for me because I've never experienced this. I've never flown. I don't think I've ever even been to an airport, and this is one of those huge cultural things that I've not experienced. And almost my entire perception of it comes from media largely.
Yeah.
And so the way that I see flying is that you've got a handful of people who just are fine with it, and then most people are like really, really worried about turbulence. I'm not really sure what turbulence is, just rocking around in the air, I suppose. And those people who are like, oh, I really hate flying, but then they're always sitting next to someone who has a statistic handy about how flying is actually quite safe.
The safest stuff all the time.
I mean, I don't know how realistic that is. Is that really a big point of anxiety for people flying in airports?
People hate flying, yeah. A lot of people hate flying. Everybody the vast majority dislike flying. Oh, I don't like flying. So,
what is to dislike? Is it just because it's... I suppose it's not a natural thing for humans to do. It's
not natural, and it is a bit cramped, and there's like 200 of you basically in a tin room.
Yeah.
And there'll be people coughing, and there'll be a little bit... You know, I really like it. If I could fly to a new place every day, I would.
Yeah.
But some
not
people
for the
just
flight.
don't like it. Some people really don't like the actual flight itself.
Yeah.
Like the feeling of being up in the air.
Yeah, some people get really anxious about it.
Turbulence is a big one. Yeah. I've only ever had bad turbulence once.
What is it like?
It's like sort of like a rocky, like it's up and down, a bit rocky.
Is it like
just like sit down?
Is it really rocky, or is it a bit vibrating?
It depends how bad your turbulence is.
What was it like for you on the worst?
Mine was it was the worst I'd ever had. It was quite rocky.
Oh right.
And a couple of people were sick, but it's because we went through like a storm.
Ah, okay.
And so like you couldn't really see, and there was like shit going on. But you know, other than that, you might occasionally get a little bit of ooh.
Yeah, a little wobble. Have you heard of this film Non-Stop with Liam Neeson?
No.
I watched it recently. It's fairly good. It's like Liam Neeson plays an air marshal on a plane. The entire film takes place on a plane. Have you heard of it?
I've seen an advert for it, I think, yeah.
Yeah. The marketing's weird because why is it called Non-Stop? That's the most generic, nondescript title for anything ever.
Shorts.
And it's got nothing to do with the premise of the film. I mean, it's just a generic action movie, really, but he's like... there's somebody on the plane who's texting the air marshal, Liam Neeson, saying, I'm going to kill someone every 20 minutes unless you wire me $1 million or whatever. And he's like trying not to cause a scene, but he's also trying to figure out
who it is.
And then people die, and, you know, it's fairly good but not amazing. And
couldn't he just ring up HQ, say who sent me this text?
If it was real, probably, yeah. It could probably get sorted out immediately. What he'd probably do if it was real is he'd probably say to the pilot, right, land, first of all.
Yeah.
And second of all, right, everyone listen up. So someone's a murderer. Who's a murderer?
Just keep them all in plain sight.
Yeah. I mean, you'd probably handcuff everyone. I don't know what would happen. But he was
you'd
like...
land the plane, and then you'd empty pockets.
I think they did say to land the plane,
phone.
actually, and he was like, oh, I can land the plane in 2 hours. So, okay. Because they were over the ocean, weren't they?
It's always the ocean.
But
I like flying. I understand people who don't like flying, don't like the feeling of being in the air. But I don't really understand people who get a bit annoyed by flying. Who are just like, oh, wow, I haven't got very much space.
just, those sorts of people that, people.
Well, why can't I get fresh bacon? Because you're 40,000 feet in the air.
Yeah.
You can't get a brilliant breakfast. I'm sorry. You can get a coffee and something they can warm up.
You can get anything that's been freeze-dried, you can have.
What do you expect them to do? Just cook on? They can't do that.
Yeah.
Do you want crisps? Here you go.
You don't have the resources.
We're
not attached to the ground.
And why is that a priority? I just can't go anywhere with.
I would just bring on one of those
baked croissant,
a big jug of one of those Soylents. You know that Soylent stuff, the meal replacement. By the way, the other day I went for a walk and I went to a shop and thought, oh, milkshake, I'll get that. And
Did you buy Soylent?
No, I accidentally bought one of those nourishment things, like a meal replacement shake.
Was it
and
nice?
you look at it, it's like, 3,000 calories.
I had a meal replacement shake once. It was fucking horrible.
It was so sweet and rich.
It's just horrible.
But I was drinking it with my lunch. I had a big sandwich with meat in it and crisps and stuff, and then this meal replacement shake. And then I was reading it and I was like, what does all this mean? And then I realised what it was. So I had it the next morning with my coffee instead of milk because I thought breakfast, 2 birds, 1 stone.
That's clever.
Tasted vaguely bad. So yeah, anyway, reclining seats.
Fucking stupid.
What does Twitter have to say about reclining seats?
What's it called? Knee defender.
Knee defender.
Just knee space defender.
Yeah, there may be a space, there may not be. There is a space on this article from Washington Post, so I would say yes.
Knee defender.
Knee defender. It was actually invented by some dude, Ira H. Goldman, who was a former aide to a former governor and US Senator, Pete Wilson, a moderate Republican from California. So this guy has a political background. So I imagine he's some fucking cunt who just flew all the time. I imagine he's a cunt because he's a politician, and I'm
just a terrible person,
an idiot. So
I'm gonna go on Twitter and have a little look right now.
What do you think people will say? I think that everybody is on our side with this. I think that's why it's blown up, really, is that it's such a ridiculous thing that everyone's like, why does anyone care? Or in reality, maybe no one cares. I mean, ostensibly sales have gone up, but that doesn't mean anything. Maybe people just bought them to see what they are and to just have a look, or just as jokes or whatever.
Someone tweeted out American Airways should sell the knee defender on this flight. Ooh.
Well, that would be fucking stupid. You would just incorporate... you would just make it so that the seats can't recline.
The guy behind me at United is using a knee defender. #travel problems.
When was that from?
6 hours ago.
So the knee defender is seeing usage right now?
Yeah.
Well, 6 hours ago. That's insane.
Time to invent the recline defender as an offensive move against using a knee defender on flights.
But that's what the knee defender is, a recline defender.
Seat reclines flat, that'll teach them. No, to put onto the thing so instead of just stopping, it goes all the way back to people that use knee defenders.
Well, that'd be silly, that'd just hurt people. That'd be a health and safety breach. You couldn't do that.
A lot of people just tweeting to articles, just being like, this is a bit strange.
So the consensus is that it's a bad thing.
Yeah, it's no surprise airlines have banned the knee defender.
Yeah, there you go. Some airlines have banned it. I'm not sure which airlines, but a few. So
yeah, a lot seem to have just given it a kick into the one side.
A thorough seeing to.
Thorough knee to the face. Flying back to Kansas today. Here's to hoping no one gets in a fight over a knee defender.
Someone said here, putting a clamp on someone else's seat is the epitome of rudeness. This are the comments on this Washington Post article.
That's true.
Sort of. The epitome of rudeness really is shitting in someone's mouth.
I was going to say urinating on someone's face.
Yeah, it is.
Great mind.
Any sort of defecation in the head area.
Head area. It's a sacred area.
Yeah. Or the genital area, shitting on someone's dick. If someone shit on your dick, you'd be very annoyed.
What about the argument that they should get rid of reclining seats?
Should they? Why?
So people don't recline?
Because 4 people are annoyed about it.
Yeah, probably.
I don't think they should. Maybe they should. How important is it to recline? Like, is it going to help anyone's back problems? Do some people need to recline?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure about it.
Arsino Hall tweeted, I am reclining, and if you jam me up with the knee defender, I'm going to break wind repeatedly until you remove it. Yes, Arsino Hall.
Who is Arsino Hall?
Have you ever seen Coming to America with Eddie Murphy?
Yeah.
He's the other black guy.
Oh, okay.
He also hosts the Arsino Hall show. And was in Martial Law with Sammo Hung.
Right.
He was the sassy black guy.
Gotcha. Well, knee defender. Fuck
knee
it.
defenders.
Defenders of knees all across the galaxies. There we go. I liked the looking at tweets at the end of it.
It's a clever idea, isn't it?
But I think that maybe you should get some tweets beforehand somehow.
So I don't just scroll through.
Yeah, because there was a weird dead air that I wasn't expecting.
I don't believe in death camps. If we were going to have them, the people we should send there are 1, knee defender owners, and 2, nerds.
3 maybe Jews as well.
Retweet.
Nerds. Yeah. All that's left to talk about really now is Joan Rivers.
Should we nail her?
I think that's illegal. Do you want another drink? Or is that a bad idea?
Yeah, no, definitely.
I might go to the bar area.
Definitely more drink. Waggy got back to me again, by the way.
What did he say?
He said, serious answer. The ex-boyfriend of a game developer Than 4chan Don't Like wrote this awful character assassination blog about her, which was used as ammo for a harassment campaign against said developer and her friends. Doesn't mention the cheating or her terrible actions.
Well, he's probably quite one-sided about it because he's into the whole social justice feminism thing, isn't he?
I'll get back to him at a later date.
This is the problem with the behind-the-scenes thing, is that we much libel our friends.
No, we didn't say anything bad.
You know Johnny, he's a cunt. We should start doing that. Shall we get some ice?
Yeah, if you want, it's in the freezer.
Is it?
Yeah. What we got coming up next?
Rivers.
Joni Rivers.
End on Joan.
I'll just go on her Twitter, see if she's tweeted anything recently.
I doubt it.
No, she hasn't.
Boring.
She last tweeted on my birthday. Gladiators. Oh, it's been a good epi this week, hasn't it? Been going on for quite some time. All you cool cats listening to Full Epi Saturday, you'll be pleased that you've got nearly a 3-hour pod with just some mad, rad, rude dudes with bad attitude chatting. Oh, what am I going to do after the podcast? Great question. Probably cigarette, whiskey, take off the trousers. Another cigarette, another whiskey. Take off the shirt. Under duvet. Light off. And then the sound of my own voice soothes me, puts me to sleep. I'm a narcissist and a terrible person, you see, so, you know, get used to it. If any of you are listening right now and haven't turned off yet, you can follow me personally on Twitter at jkybermd and jkyber, maybe MD, on Instagram, jkyber, Snapchat, TFC Podcast across all your social networks, Birdhouse in your Phil on Instagram, that's for Phil. Phil's taken to drinking whiskey, which is interesting. Hope I've not turned him into an alcoholic. Worried about him. Might have to have an intervention next week if he brings up drinking again. He started to abuse substances pretty badly. I think. Don't tell anyone. I think he started using illegal drugs. And they are illegal for a reason, so I worry. Gladiators, haven't watched Gladiators in ages. Such a good show that was. I'm not really saying anything here. I'm not saying anything at all. Hey, hey, hey. Do be do 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 be do be do do be do be do. Oh, he's coming back. Hopefully he's got some illegal drugs with him. If not, we're all in trouble.
Hi there.
Great news.
Yeah.
I know we're about to chat about Joni Rivers.
Heading on, Joan.
Her funeral's going on right now, so...
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
We can use that to segue into it. This is ice. This is pre-floor ice. The ice fell on the floor, then I washed it.
That's fine.
So, there you go. What do you want? I'm at the bar area.
Whiskey, please.
Which whiskey?
Whatever you're having.
I'm having the fire eater. How
Yes,
much
please.
do you want? Do you want to say when?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Order of service at her wedding. New York City Gay Men's Chorus. Opening prayers. Musical interlude. Tribute. Reminisces. Musical interlude by Hugh Jackman.
What the fuck?
Closing prayers.
Hugh Jackman is doing me. Alright, we'll talk about this, hang on. I'm gonna get comfortable. Oh yeah. La 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 la.
Howard Stern's there.
Is that a picture of Howard Stern?
Yeah.
What was he doing?
Just wandering in.
Was he all happy?
You know.
Fairly jovial, I imagine. Stern, innit?
She opened with What a Wonderful World and Hey Big Spender.
Who did?
The New York City Gay Men's Chorus.
Oh, right. Not Rivers.
No.
I thought they might have animated her, like, using robotics. Right. Could I have some of that water?
You.
Thank you very much. Cheers. We love you behind the scenes, folks, by the way.
Yeah, it's great you're listening to Full Epi Saturday.
Thanks for stopping by. You are actually our favourite listeners. We hate the people who just listen to the...
just listen to the
individual episodes. Those people are...
terrible. Boo!
They're lame.
Lamos.
Lamos, whereas you are cool dudes.
We hate lamos. Lamos suck.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, Phil.
Something pretty big happened over the past week. I'd just like to bring the tone down a little here.
Tell me all about it.
Here on TLDR, we like to have a laugh. We like to have a giggle. But the laughter sort of died, I think, over the past week. When Joan Rivers kicked the bucket, croaked it, went and fell over and died. I think her heart exploded.
It's been coming for a while, though, hasn't it? She's
What has?
81.
Oh, yeah.
And she toured all the time. I nearly went and saw her last year in London.
Missed out.
But tickets were 75 quid, so like,
Oh, okay.
absolutely
No.
definitely not.
No. Even though you're dead, Joan, don't take
75 quid.
Don't rob people.
Get to fuck. 75 quid. It's the same with Jackie Mason. I wanted to go and see him. 80 quid his tickets were.
You wouldn't have got his comedy, though. It'd be like,
Hey, Gentiles. Hey.
you know what it's like to be a Jew, right?
And the Jewish husband, he never does anything if he's not a court. He's in his own house, he's in the wrong place. His wife is like, hey, don't sit over there, don't sit over there.
You
That
know
place for visitors, this place for visitors.
If you're a Jew, why don't you be the guest and just fuck the wife? Don't get married to the person you love, just be a friend of the family.
Jackie Mason, to me, is Rabbi Kristofsky.
Yeah, definitely.
That's like all he is to me.
Krusty's dad from The Simpsons.
Strange.
Joan Rivers is Joan Rivers from Futurama, to me.
I was thinking about it the other day. What do I know Joan Rivers from, other than being Joan Rivers?
Yeah, that's it for our generation.
Because her entire career has I'm Joan Rivers and I have had so much plastic surgery, and I'm a sort of abrasive comedian.
This is the thing. This is why I suppose I opened this little segment with being a facetious cunt. But the reason that I don't be like, oh, well, it is quite sad and sombre, is because I don't feel that, and I feel like if I pretended I did, it would be quite disrespectful. Because Joan Rivers doesn't mean all that much to me, because I'm just not of the right generation for her to be a big thing for me. Like, if Sarah Silverman had died today, to use female comedians, then that would have more of an impact.
I watched quite a bit of her stand-up. I've seen a couple of them on Netflix.
I've never watched her stand-up. I've seen clips.
It's pretty good. But you have to bear in mind that she's like 70 something when she's doing these.
Yeah.
She got a big break in like 65, I think.
How old would she have been?
Well, if she was 80, say 80, 33, 30, born in 33, so she'd be like early 30s.
Yeah.
When she got a big break, and she's been on telly for like 50 years.
Yeah. I don't know what she looked like.
That's a decent run. Very different, because...
I might Google her now and see what she looked like. Do you have that image to pull in your head? Like, can you picture what she looked like?
Vaguely. I'll have a gander when you look. But she's very open about, her plastic surgery and all the things she did. That's her whole...
Oh, there you go. Yeah. She looks completely different.
Yeah, massively, massively different.
Yeah.
That's her whole thing. And that's why... especially to a lot of comedians and a lot of people who are around then, she is a sort of female pioneer. If you look back to English comedy in the 1960s, I don't know if there were any females.
At least not prevalent or well known. But then I can't name many 60s comedians.
It's all about like your Morecambes and your Whites.
Yeah.
But female comics, they just weren't a big thing here until maybe the late 70s, early 80s.
I mean, name a huge British female comic. There aren't many.
Within the realms of Britain, if you look at female comics that have made it, Victoria Wood, Jo Brand, people like that.
Yeah.
But in terms of global success, none of these, they've never played New York.
Well, no, that's true.
These aren't famous, successful people globally.
That's probably true of male British comedians as well, to a certain extent. Like Lee Evans, Michael McIntyre. These are names that... Peter Kay.
Yeah, only comedian, like comic fans really know a lot of American English stand-ups.
Well, in England, everyone knows those people. But
I mean,
if you go to America,
I think maybe Eddie Izzard.
Yeah, Eddie Izzard is
played in America.
Through. But he plays in like France in French.
Yeah, and in Germany
in Germany in German.
He's one of those people. He's a little bit.
Have you watched Hannibal, by the way, the TV series?
No.
It's good. He's in that.
Really?
Yeah.
I really like Eddie Izzard. I think he's very, very funny.
Yeah. He's not very funny in Hannibal.
Well, no, but I mean, in his stand-up is fantastic.
Yeah, I love Eddie Izzard. Has he put anything out recently?
I don't think so.
Anyway, talking of Joan Rivers, though, isn't there a funeral going on now? Literally,
I think it went on today, and people tweeting about it as we speak.
So it's not now, then?
I don't think it's right now. People are tweeting about it, but the thing about Joan Rivers is I can only really know of it from sort of historical perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you go, 60s, and she was on Johnny Carson, and that was a big moment for her, and great, and that she did pave a way for all your Silvermans and all these female comics that came after her, and really a lot of just genuine comedy. There's a lot of people who really, your Seinfelds, your Louis C.K.'s, all these people sort of call her out as a big sort of influence in their work. Yeah. She said some very honest, brutal things at times, I suppose. Talk about her husband's suicide and 9/11 and all that. But she sort of didn't make friends. She wasn't in comedy to make friends. That's fair enough. That's great, I suppose.
I feel like she is interesting to people of our generation in that she says something about her generation. Like, what she is a commentary on her generation in a way. I mean, I'm not saying that... I don't mean to say that she's a commentary on her generation. I mean, the thing that she is and, like, what her career was, you can look at that and see that as reflective of what her generation was like. Like, she was, like, the only real female comedian there.
Well, she was also the anomaly.
She was also the token, like, in a way.
Yeah,
she was
I imagine
the token
so.
female comedian, and, like, she still leaned heavily on the beauty aspect to the point of getting plastic surgery. Whereas I feel like...
Well, in our lifetime, she's done a little bit of stand-up. She does tour and does do stand-up. But most people know her of our generation for her work on, like, E! And fashion.
Yeah. And just cameos and references to her. She's one of those things like...
She hosts a TV... Well, she did host a TV show with her daughter on, like, fashion or E! Or whatever it was for, like, 6 or 7 years. I mean, we were kids when that started.
But I never watched that, did you?
No, I've seen it, but... because it's Joan Rivers.
She's one of those people who's like Spock. Everyone knows who Spock is, and everyone knows quite a bit about Spock, but no one knows why they know Spock or where he's from, or like most people have never watched 1960s Star Trek.
Yeah, I've never watched 1960s
Star Trek. You know who Spock is though, don't you?
Yeah.
The guy with the pointy ears and shit.
Leonard Nimoy.
Exactly, yeah, like, that's like Joan Rivers, like, we know who she is from her impact on culture and from cultural references to her.
As a sort of comic fan, she's one of these people that crops up just from time to time, and you'll see like a little clip here. Like, I remember they were talking about people who were making jokes of like very serious things. She was one of the first people to do a 9/11 joke, and I was like, oh, isn't she just some old woman? And like looked at her, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But like, she's never anything more than that. You weren't there when she got her big break. She's the only female to ever host a network chat show.
Yeah.
Ever.
Was she?
Yeah.
She's the only female to ever... She was, or she is now?
Still? No, she was. She only did it for a couple of years. It wasn't very good. But nobody's ever done it since. That's why Johnny Carson never spoke to her again.
Wasn't Oprah network, or is that all cable?
I think that's cable. And then she got her own channel.
She does now, yeah. I don't know, that's all weird. The way TV works in America is
very,
weird.
very different.
We don't have that in England. It's all just... Here are the 4 channels that there are.
Yeah.
And then here's Dave.
Until in our lifetime.
Yeah.
I think Channel 5 started in our lifetime.
In the late 90s.
And now there are like hundreds.
I think Americans might find it funny that we have a channel called Dave.
Dave, yeah.
That's a good... I like the fact that we have a channel called Dave, because it
Dave
shows...
+1.
Yeah. Shows that British irreverence. The lack of...
It is a very British channel as well.
Austerity, yeah.
I think Americans would be completely lost watching like repeats of
it's funny though. It's ironic because that marks this huge aspect of British culture, which is a lack of austerity. Whereas from the outside looking in, you might see British culture as being really austere because of the monarchy and because of the history of Britain and so on.
Whereas in fact, it's
like we're marked by this irony and like self-deprecation of like. Almost. Everything's stupid, we don't take anything seriously. Like, there's no one writing in the streets for anything ever in Britain.
Yeah, and even when we do, there's almost a sort of, well, look what we're doing.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Nudge, nudge kind of.
Which I like. To it. I like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Dave is a great... I remember when Dave came out, I just watched it endlessly.
Yeah.
Just for days on it. Mock the Week.
Mock the Week, QI. It's all syndications of...
Yeah, a lot of QI.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of QI, a lot of...
Would I Lie to You?
Would I Lie to You, yeah, those sorts of things. Panel shows. I don't know if I... Did I say this to you? And was it on a podcast where I was saying that I don't know why America hasn't taken on the panel show?
Yeah.
Was that in discussion with you?
Well, I believe we've had this conversation at some point in the past.
It just seems like the perfect format for America. Because they're so big into the cult of celebrity. And a panel show is basically...
Just throw somebody on and go...
Yeah.
Maybe they do, we just don't see them. I don't know. I feel like I know about them.
Yeah, I feel like I know about... We know... Like, everywhere knows the ins and outs of American culture. Really.
Yeah.
Even the things that are very particular to America you sort of know of.
Well, I mean, take an example is Worst Chefs.
Yeah, Worst Chefs.
I don't think that's ever been on TV here.
No, but we still watched like 2 seasons
on it and watched all
of
it and go, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah. No, it's Worst Cooks in America.
Worst Cooks.
They're not chefs, they're cooks.
Anne Burrell and Bobby Flay.
It's funny because if that was in England, it'd be Bob Flay and Annie Burrell.
Annie Burrell. Hello, Annie.
I feel like we're not taking Joan Rivers seriously. Right. It's because we only know her as this tertiary...
Like you were saying a minute ago, I can sit here and go, well, you know, she was a pioneer for female comics and comedy in general and took the brash, abrasive, honest, unfiltered comedy that she had inside, and you know, she grew up with, you know, Carlin and Cosby and all these people, Pryor and Bruce, and her legacy in comedy is undoubted, but I know nothing of it. I know very little about it. Other than the fact she was quite an entertaining person to me.
But I feel like we can offer a unique perspective here, because not only are we relatively young, but we're also relatively British. And so, like, the average person listening to this probably won't have heard of, for example, Sarah Millican. Yeah. Or, like, I mean, she's... I think, maybe I'm wrong, I vaguely hope that I'm wrong, sort of, but I think she's probably the biggest British comedian working today. Is she?
Female comedian?
Yeah, that's what I mean,
yeah. Yeah,
well, who else
probably.
Is there? Jo Brand, but she's
These
not
people
really...
don't do stand-up anymore.
No, she's a panel show.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there are many female... There's a lot of, like, up-and-coming female talent that you see on panel shows.
Yeah.
But none of them are huge.
Yeah, none of... I mean, there are a lot of female comedians working in...
How many do, like, sell out stand-up tours?
Yeah, and have their own chat shows. Like, Millican has her own chat show. Which I didn't
Sarah
know
Millican
until... Like,
television programme.
Yeah, I didn't know that until, like, a week ago.
I've never seen it.
I watched, like, 5 minutes of it.
It's shit.
It wasn't shit, she just doesn't seem fit for the role.
Yeah, I'm not...
She's not that...
I'm not a huge fan.
I like Sarah Millican, but I feel like I'm just not her target audience, so I get every fifth joke. That's what I feel like.
I feel like...
But the jokes that I do get, I enjoy. She's good.
A lot of female comedians, like I said, I'm not the target audience of.
Yeah.
And so I can never really... Like, the whole, female comedians funny. Yeah, of course they are, but I'm not in the position where I can really be the be-all and end-all of that. I can't be like, well, you're better than she is. I don't know.
But then I feel like it's the responsibility solely of female comedians to either to embrace that and to be like, yeah, we will do comedy to women, directed at women.
Yeah.
Or to break free from that and say, no, I'm going to do comedy about fucking coffee and wallpaper. And
yeah, that's what you need. That's what good comedy, I feel, is storytelling.
Yeah,
with
maybe.
A lot of good jokes in them.
I mean, that is good comedy, but I don't think that's the only valid form.
No, I'm not saying it's the only valid form, but a lot
like your
of
favourite
what
form
works
of
for me. It doesn't have to be, you know.
Have you ever watched Irish Affairs show, This Is Not Happening?
No.
Where it's like, it's filmed somewhere or other. I don't know, it's like live stand-up sets, and it's people telling out anecdotes, stand-up comedians telling anecdotes as part of a stand-up set.
Right.
And that's centred around storytelling. Like, there was one with Joey Diaz telling his...
Joey fucking Diaz.
Yeah, the time he first took cocaine and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In the framework of a stand-up comedy set.
That sounds interesting.
And there was Joe Rogan talking about a run-in he had with like a prostitute or something, I can't remember. But it is all basically Joe Rogan and friends.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
that little Death Squad group.
Yeah, that's the burden of anyone attached to Joe Rogan. Like, Irish Affair is always going to be...
Joe Rogan's buddy.
Of
Irish
Joe Rogan
Affair.
fame, yeah. But I feel like Joe Rogan doesn't play up to that and tries to play it down a lot. Like, he recently on his podcast has started to try to not say his own name.
Yeah, he doesn't like saying the Joe Rogan experience.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, it's good. I imagine it's quite a difficult position for him to be in.
Well, I mean, that's all well and good for a little podcast like Joe Rogan Experience, whatever it's called, but for like TLDR, you have to say
Internet Digest.
Yeah, TLDR, the Internet Digest. I'll say it again, TLDR, the Internet Digest. Yes, the best podcast on iTunes.
Easily.
Like, I'm not going to sit here and not say the name of this amazing empire that we've built. That would be an affront to art.
I'll basically be pissing on my own blood, sweat and tears. And
yeah, I'll be shitting on my own mouth.
I don't want to do that.
No.
I've tried it and it's not for me.
It's the logistics that I can't get around, Matt. It's the muscular strain on the pelvis.
I don't want it.
I can't... If I could figure out a way to do it, I'd do it. But
I'd try it, but...
I've tried it 4 or 5 times. Can't
it's
make
not
it
for
happen.
me. Joan Rivers, she will be missed.
Joan Rivers. Do you want to check the Twitter sphere? See what's going on there?
I've I've pressed the hashtag for Joan Rivers' funeral. It's always weird when comedians die because you get the people going, the world will be a bit less funny. And you get people who are just trying to do, jokes.
I feel like the world is a bit less funny as just one of those stock lines that you can say.
That people use.
Because, I mean, you do need those, to be fair, because sometimes you do feel sad, but you can't put it into words, so you need these stock phrases to pull from.
But when people who are renowned for being funny, and especially someone like Joan Rivers, renowned for being like quite vicious to some people with that comedy, when they die, you get people trying to be like a bit jokey. And it's sort of just, it's like, well, you're not a famous stand-up comedian, so it just comes up.
And you're not their friend. You can't call them a cunt now they've died. It's not okay.
It's like
just because they're a comedian.
Celebrities and friends all took comfort knowing she died doing something she loved, having surgery. It's like, well, yeah. You know,
it's a weird one. Like, because her profession is telling jokes, you feel like you can send her off by telling jokes.
Please tell me that somebody was at the funeral mercilessly critiquing everybody's outfits as they walked into the synagogue because she used to do a bit of fashion. Yeah, it's a weird one.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about. I mean, I don't know.
You know, it's nice though.
It's a way of paying your respects to that person. It's like, I imagine all of that is done with the thought of like, oh, she would have liked it if I'd have said this. And so in that sense, it is essentially respectful. So, fine.
Yeah. Most people don't do it to be horrible.
No, I don't think that's the intent, but like, you sort of do have to also realise, well, what if her family members read this or whatever and just don't, you know, they know her as, she worked as a comedian, but she was also just Joan, the cousin, who knows that she was 20 or whatever. Well, younger than 20.
Some people do it quite nicely, though. Like, I hope God is not wearing socks with his sandals now Joan's around. That's almost like quaint.
Yeah, that's almost like, you can tell your mother, yeah. I mean, I'm thinking out loud here, I'm not like forming an opinion or anything, I don't know. It's a weird one.
But she seemed to have a good funeral. A lot of people turned up.
How many people turned up?
A couple hundred. Completely guessing.
Was the WBC the Westboro Baptist Church?
I doubt it.
That's
I think so. I'm walking outside and can't cross the street. Cas of the massive funeral. Here's some pictures that a guy's just tweeted.
That's a weird way to pay your respects, sir. Thank you.
I'm walking outside and can't cross the street. Cas of C-A-Z, cuss of the massive crowd and funeral. # Joan Rivers funeral. Such a strange thing to say.
Yeah. That's not really what the hashtag's for, mate. You're not really, like, joining in there.
It's quite nice to end on that note, though. That poor bastard couldn't cross the road.
I feel very sorry for him.
Cas of the big funeral.
Yeah. Poor, what's his name?
Nori NYC.
Poor Nori. Do you reckon it's Northwest?
I have a corporate job and care about my online privacy. Find me on Facebook if you know me. I post pics there.
Probably not Northwest.
Upper East Side. Manhattan.
Not Northwest then, no.
Upper East.
UE.
UESM.
Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee.
Mark Ronson, Ghostface Killer. Ooey, that song's called.
As in Harold and Kumar. Words. It's called. Wait, Ooey is in the name of it. How do you spell Ooey then?
Ooh.
Wait, that's not. You're just doing squiggles in the air. You've got to say the name.
2 O's H-W-E-E. Ooey.
2 O's H-W-E-E.
It's in Harold and Kumar. It's by...
Yeah, I know the song. I sang it. You know, I'm a big fan.
By Mark Ronson.
Yeah, but isn't that originally... Like, Snoop Dogg did that originally, didn't he? The whole ooh-wee.
That's not stopping.
Isn't Mark Ronson...
It's not stopping. Yeah.
Isn't he someone who does remixes and stuff, though?
Maybe.
I don't fucking know.
I don't care enough.
I feel like, in all likelihood, what we're saying now has probably already been cut out of the Joan Rivers thing. We've probably already found the end point of the Joan Rivers chat.
After
this is probably behind the scenes again.
Funeral.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed the new format though. It's been light, refreshing.
Yeah, there are a few wrinkles to iron out, but it's really, I like it. It's a good idea.
It's more relaxed.
Well done, Phil. You're a cool dude.
Yeah, good job. Elbows.
Nice.
How are we going to wrap this one up? I've forgotten because we spoke about what we were going to do.
I think we were just going to do it normally.
Ago.
I think we were just going to say bye, adios, and all that.
Yeah. won't say that.
We'll do that in a bit.
Yeah. Like we did this last...
I need a nap first, and then we'll end it.
We did this last week when it just dragged out.
Yeah.
Instead of just going, and that was TLDR, the Instant Digest.
It's because of a passion for podcasting, though, isn't it?
I never want to stop.
Yeah, I just love it. I've noticed that during this episode we've been going for 3 hours 16 minutes.
That's a good length.
Again, this is the second time this has happened. I've become all bunged up. Can you hear it in my voice?
Not really.
Oh, that's good then.
Yeah, sniff it out.
You know what? I've got one of those oldest inhalers.
Have a bit of whiskey.
There's an idea. See, this is where, we probably should have ended this 2 minutes ago. Because...
But we haven't and we won't.
Drinking whiskey and inhaling a little nasal stick. With
cocaine.
No, it's cajuput oil, eucalyptus oil, lever menthol, and peppermint oil.
You snort up your nose and I'll say adios.
Okay. Oh, God damn! I said, God damn! It's Pulp Fiction.
Adios!